I'm Michael. God, this Red Bull is fucking terrible.
Is that a Red Bull? What is that?
It's a red. No, sometimes I get this Red Bull and I like it, but I don't like it at the same time. It's like tangerine kiwi. It's strawberry apricot flavored. I don't know. It's like I want to like it.
Let me see that.
I think I want to like it more than I like it. But I need a little bit of extra energy.
The Amber edition.
The Amber. It's been around for like years.
I don't think I've ever seen that, but I don't drink Red Bull or any energy drink. For that matter.
you might need to drink energy drink because it's time for the RageSelect podcast. I'm sorry, that might have sounded like it was going to be boring.
Yeah, I took a bit to get there.
But yeah, no, this is for us, not for you. You don't need a Red Bull. You've got the RageSelect podcast right here on RageSelect with me, Jeff.
And I'm like, and I haven't had a Red Bull in a very long time.
Oh yeah, I'd
always kill me every time.
My coffee today, and I was just like, I need a little extra. I've been dealing with a lot of bullshit recently, and I'm just like, I need a little boost to get over the edge. I know that by part 3, I'm going to be just like starting to fall asleep while I'm describing trailers to people. I'll be like, "There's another trailer."
I made sure to eat because I was worried that would happen with the B2.
Yeah, we got a big week this week. Nothing, no unifying news or anything, but a lot of news.
A lot of it.
Big chunk of news. So, strap in, everybody. But before we get to that, Michael, I watched something this week.
What'd you watch?
I watched something this week. Well, as you know, I'm afraid of children.
Okay.
And teenagers specifically, like people cross the street like to get away from scary looking punk rockers and stuff. It's like that's when I see a bunch of like 15-year-olds like saying fucking talking about Skibbity Toilet and doing whatever. I'm just like, oh god, get away from the youths.
If any of them say that at any age, I'm scared.
Yeah, they're talking about the Rizzler, and I'm just like, fuck.
Every time I hear the Rizzler, I'm like, what does that even mean? Is that a new Batman villain?
I don't know. All I know is we made a character called the Rizzler when we were playing Warhammer Dark Tide. I think Amanda and I, we played with somebody that was called the Rizzler.
Oh, that sounds about right.
And we just went on this whole extended tangent, not knowing that it was just some slang. So anyway, children go to the movie theater to watch movies, and I don't want to be anywhere near them.
Which is fair.
And I especially didn't want to be anywhere near them when I heard about what was happening in the Minecraft movie.
Oh, definitely not.
But this week, the Minecraft movie came out on VOD.
Did it really?
And I could watch it in the comfort of my own home.
Oh, goodness.
So I sat down and watched the Minecraft movie.
You watched the Minecraft movie?
I did. I really did.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm going to tell you, it wasn't really that bad. It was.
That's all I've heard about it, to be honest.
It was like... It was formulaic as shit, man. It's formulaic as balls. Like there was this whole intro about fucking Steve and how he wants to go to the mines. It was in the trailer. It's not a fucking spoiler. Don't come at me. You've already seen it or you don't care. And then in the trailer how it's like, and then there's like the two kids. There's Jason Momoa and the two kids, and then like the lady from Orange is the New Black, right? And they're there with Minecraft Steve in the Minecraft world. And so it's like Minecraft Steve goes to the Minecraft world, and then like the key to the Minecraft world is lost. And now here's these two young people that are moving to town, and one of them's misunderstood in high school. And I'm like, okay, I fucking see where this is going. Like, so, they're going to go to the Minecraft dimension, and then what do you think is going to happen? And everything that happens in this movie, if you've watched movies, is coming from a mile away.
Oh, okay. It's one of those ones where it's like we're adapting something, but we don't want to do anything too crazy.
Yes.
So we're just going to do like the most generic type thing.
It's a real formulaic thing.
Here's the main thing I've heard about this movie, and correct me if I'm wrong in any way.
Yeah.
Is it's like the way the Super Mario Brothers movie was, the new one, which is that it is what you said, just a formulaic thing.
Yeah.
But if you are a fan of that specific thing, you will understand everything that's going on in it, and you'll enjoy it more that way.
Yes. It was, when I watched it, I was actually really impressed because they have a few like action scenes. They go to a few places. They encounter a few different mobs from Minecraft. And it's like, oh, okay, this all makes sense, right? Like the antagonist is on the other side of the Nether Gate, and they're bringing the piglins from the Nether dimension. And it's just like, oh yeah, man, this was in that fucking like real-time strategy Minecraft game. That was like the point of that game.
That was. I bet you that's why they made that game.
Yeah. So it was formulaic as shit, but here's the thing. I didn't hate it. It was just like, I mean, I see where this is going. It's not like this is going to be a dark movie where it turns out at the end all of the children get murdered by the Minecraft pigs, and the you know, it turns out that Steve was a fucking psycho killer in his old life. And like
the way to make that movie dark but still make it kind of formulaic, almost an accident, is to kill Steve halfway through the movie.
Yes, yeah.
And then he'll be like, "It's up to you, children," but he dies like in a horrific way.
Right.
Like that would be interesting.
The thing is that like it had the occasional spark of interesting stuff going on.
Okay. So there was something sort of there.
There were a few jokes that were actually funny. There were a few turns. I thought that it was really weird, Michael. I don't believe I'm saying this about the Minecraft movie, and I really don't want to spend too much time on this. But like, Jason Momoa's character was kind of interesting.
Okay.
Like he's Billy Mitchell. He's like he was an arcade, like he set the record on this arcade game back in the 80s, and he's just been like coasting on his glory since that time. And now he's this washed up has-been who runs like a video game store in this podunk town, and he's like super poofed up and full of himself.
Okay.
But he's also broke, and his store is about to be repossessed. I'm sure you can guess where that goes. But then, like, you know, at his heart, he's not the worst guy in the world. Like, he keeps showing.
So he's not like real life Billy Mitchell's,
right? Like the younger kid comes into his store because he's like on his way to school on the first day, and he sees this video game store, and he goes in, and you know, Jason Momoa is basically trying to like fleece him for money. He gives him like this he's going to bring him into his like leadership program or whatever, some bullshit. But he's actually like complimenting the kid and giving him good advice, and he seems to actually care what happens to the kid and all this stuff.
Okay.
And there's a tension in the actual movie between like Jason Momoa really wants to, when they go to Minecraft World, Jason Momoa really wants to seem like he's the hero of this story. It's obvious that fucking Steve is the hero of the story. Steve knows how this world works.
Yeah.
And Jason Momoa is like, big fucking deal. Let me show you how this is done. And then, of course, wacky hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was fine. And you know, the longer you know, when we saw the trailers and everything was very realistic, but it was all blocky, right?
Yeah.
And some people had like redone the trailers where they'd use the actual Minecraft graphics. I don't think that would have worked because I think that would have clashed. I think having the world be textured but still square makes it mesh better with the live action people.
Well, that's one of the things about when they did that. It's like that only works if they also turned into Minecraft people themselves.
Yes.
Like look like the way they did in like, you know, that one Telltale type game.
Yes.
They made.
There were two things that I had a problem with. Three things that I had a problem with.
Uh-huh.
Three major things that I had a problem with. One, I know that you have to let Jack Black sing a dumb song, but I don't want to hear Jack Black sing a dumb song. There's nothing about the character of Steve that indicated that he would be singing a dumb song, and 2 points during the movie he just fucking busts out with a dumbass song that lasts for like 2 minutes, and I'm like, okay, listen, I know that the whole Peaches thing was a thing, but like, please don't let this be a thing that you let fucking Jack Black do in his movies.
Too late.
Two, some of the green screen work was abysmal. Like, I was just like, I could do better than this with Puppet Jeff, man. Like, some of this shit just does not work at all. Like, but at all. And then the third thing I totally forgot because I talked too long about how much I didn't like Jack Black singing, so I forgot what I was going to say. But you know what? If it comes onto like Paramount Plus or one of those streaming services, and I mean, especially if you have kids, and especially if those kids play Minecraft, it's worth a watch. Like, it's inoffensive. I saw it was where it was going because I'm fucking 47 years old. I've watched a bunch of movies, right? Like, an 8-year-old isn't going to know where this shit is going. They're going to be like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen with the scumbag with the heart of gold who's trying to redeem himself. I wonder what's going to happen in the third act to that guy.
I had a thought while we were talking about this movie that made me giggle because I can't help but think it would be really stupid, but really funny if they did this. And I know they won't ever do this, but it would be really funny. Is that if I don't remember who made the movie. I want to say it was WB. I can't remember.
Oh, the company?
Yeah.
I think it's a Warner Brothers movie.
What they should do...
There's the director of Napoleon Dynamite.
Yeah, the director of Napoleon Dynamite made it, which I heard was crazy. what they should do as a joke, but also it would still make the money because it would be really funny.
Yeah.
Is they should officially release that leaked version without all the shit in it.
Oh, the one that
and call it the early access edition.
Oh, I remember what the third thing is. Okay, there is a subplot in this movie that involves Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh my goodness.
And
that's all you had to say.
And it every so often the movie just grinds to a halt to go check in on Jennifer Coolidge in this weird, I don't know why it's in the movie subplot. Like it's like we keep checking back in with Jennifer Coolidge doing her shtick, and then at the very end of the movie it pays off in this one okay gag. And I was like, at least you paid it off, but I still didn't know why it's like Minecraft. I was like, we got to take a 5-minute Jennifer Coolidge break because something happens where Minecraft spills back out into the world.
Yeah.
But it's only this one thing. So like most of the movie is about them in Minecraft world, but there's this one weird subplot about Jennifer Coolidge running into something from the Minecraft world. And we just keep checking back in on it. And I was like, this whole thing could have been lifted out of this 1 hour and 40-minute movie. And I would have been like, oh, here's Jennifer Coolidge in the very beginning because she's the vice principal when he goes to school. And then that would have been it. It would have been like, here's a funny lady for 5 minutes.
Well, that was the thing about the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie.
Yeah.
Because I've talked to people about this before. Because there's also, when you're watching Sonic the Hedgehog 2, there's a subplot about James Marsden's sister-in-law getting married, and they'll just keep cutting back to it every now and then.
Like,
and if
why?
you took it out of the movie, it wouldn't affect the movie that much.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things. I'm like, I get why you would want that out of it, but on that one, I kind of get why it's in there because it's like it's still kind of a fun one. Jennifer Coolidge is a one that is like I can't take her all the time.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays because Jennifer Coolidge has had a lot of work done.
Yeah.
To the point where she probably came from the Minecraft world kind of thing.
But the thing is, I can't talk about it because it's a major spoiler for this one really good joke. But then when it pays off at the end, it paid off in a way that actually made me happy that whole thing was in the movie.
Oh, okay.
But I can't explain it without spoiling that.
Okay,
so
that's
I'll
fair.
put that on ice.
But again, that's how I feel about the Sonic Adventure,
Yeah.
the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 thing, is that stuff kind of pays off in a way that made me happy that it was through the whole movie.
Yeah. What about you? Did you watch anything? You play anything?
I watched Sinners.
Oh, there you
I
go.
don't remember if I talked about that. I don't think I did. But I watched Sinners with my girlfriend and her family.
Mm-hmm.
It was her brother's idea, actually.
Yeah.
To go watch it. Because my girlfriend doesn't like horror movies, and neither does her mother. And so Sinners is like, I didn't know whether it was horror or not. When I watched it, I'm like, it's horror-ish kind of thing.
I keep getting from the second half of From Dusk Till Dawn vibes from
it's
it.
closer to that,
Like,
yeah. It's like it's gory, but not like overly gory. Like it's not even as gory as even that type of thing. It's as sexual as that. In fact, probably more sexual than that in a lot of ways. Because I've never watched a movie that talked about cunnilingus as much as this movie.
Oh, God.
Because there was like a whole point where I'm watching the movie and I'm like, oh, did they just say that? Just out loud? And that's a plot point, I'm assuming, kind of thing.
Oh, wow. Jennifer Coolidge was there. It was great.
Yeah, the whole thing. And yeah, it was just like, it just caught me off guard just how sexually charged that movie was as it went on. And then it just stops being that, like, once, all the shit starts happening. But even then, it still kind of is.
Yeah.
But no, it's what was surprising to me about the movie is the whole first, like, I don't know, I didn't time it because I wasn't, I was at a movie theater, is that it's this long sequence of just setup.
Yeah.
Because the movie's about, like, these two guys. They come back they were World War I veterans who worked for the mob in Chicago and came back to their southern hometown to make like a kind of like a nightclub type idea. It's more like it's like a jazzy type club idea or something like that. Yeah, like a speakeasy basically in their hometown for people of color, made by people of color and nobody else essentially. Yeah, because they're like, this is ours. You guys have your things, you have our things. Sure. And so the whole first half is just setup, and it goes on for like what feels like ever. Yeah. And for some people, that's going to turn them off, mostly because you're just like, I get it. You're friends with everybody. Fucking move on. Yeah. But to me, I'm like, it's building up this community type situation. Yeah. So you feel the second half more if you're into the first half.
Sure. There's stakes.
Yeah. If you're not
get it.
Exactly. If you're not into the first half, then you're just going to be annoyed the whole fucking time. Sure. But once everything gets going, like it's really, really gets going. But by the time it was done, I'm like, I don't know what's happening anymore. Type type of thing. And when it was done, I was like, that was really like, I understand why everybody loves it because there's a lot of really amazing sequences in it.
Yeah.
It's a movie that I definitely will watch again maybe one of these days when I get a chance.
Sure.
But if you're expecting like to go in and watch fucking, The Evil Dead 2 or some shit, it's not like that level of horror. Okay. Like even the most horrific stuff is not even close to like some of the most horrific stuff I've ever seen.
Okay.
And even like some of the worst, or not worst stuff, some of the most medium stuff, I guess. Like, so it's like, because it'll go back and forth between how gory it is and how not really all gory it is.
Okay.
But like, you'll have a good time if you like any of the actors in this movie, especially Michael B. Jordan. He's great in it. I didn't know he plays twins in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So they did a really great job with like having him being in like the same scene, so it never even occurs to you. Like, you eventually forget they're supposed to be two different, or you forget that they're the same actor. You just start to understand they're two different people with their own thoughts and and wants and stuff. And so by the time it was done, I was just like, that was a great time. And I don't know how they would ever make a sequel to that specifically because of the way it ends. But if they do, I hope it's just like just in another like place type of, like the way the Final Destinations are, where it's never just like usually
it's not a continuation of the same characters.
It's usually just like another whole, like maybe there might be somebody, but it's always like a whole another group type of thing. I'd rather it be like that type of thing.
So it looks like it stands up to the. I haven't met anybody yet who's had any. Who's said anything besides it was great and I enjoyed it quite a bit. So
I'm the closest I've ever had to a person having a lukewarm response to it.
Sure.
And even then I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah.
I didn't say like, I'm not going to be like, I absolutely adored the movie and it's the greatest thing that's ever happened, because I've heard that from like multiple people.
Right.
I think that's kind of why I feel the way I do. I feel like if I would have walked in with
somebody that you got puffed up too much before you went to go see it.
And so when I watched it, I was like, well, that was really good, but it wasn't like, the world's greatest movie, but it's exactly what you kind of want from a movie like that. Also, the music is amazing, is the other thing I'll say about it, because a lot of blues stuff, really, really good.
Well, speaking of stuff on your TV with old-timey music, let's get into it, because we're starting with there's some kind of like Amazon, I forget what this thing was. It was called the Amazon Upfront 2025.
I heard about this. There was another trailer that happened in it that I saw.
Yeah, and so they did a little Fallout 2 thing. But what's strange is that this isn't anywhere on YouTube. It's like only re-uploaded by people.
That's what happened with the other thing I saw.
Yeah,
well.
I wonder if it's on Amazon itself. But this is a little 2-minute thing that's basically behind the scenes with Walton Goggins' character.
Oh, okay.
And him doing like a series of old-timey advertisements. He does one for Nuka-Cola.
Oh, that's fun.
And he's like trying to tell his like agent that he doesn't want to do these anymore.
I forgot he's an actor, right?
He was an actor before the bombs dropped. And then there's a second one that he does for sunscreen for Vault Tech, and he's like, how does that even work? They're going to be underground. They don't need sunscreen. And they're just like, listen, you're getting paid. You need to do it. But the third advertisement that he does is for the Lucky 38 Casino. And it's like a kind of a holiday promo of like, come, it's like, what, we've got slots for adults and we've got really secure rooms to lock your children in. So come on down and have a great time at Lucky 38 Casino. And at the very end, we basically get like a very short snippet of the Ghoul and Lucy, and they kind of look at each other and mosey off into the distance, and in the distance we see the ruins of Fallout New Vegas. We see the New Vegas ruins in the distance, along with the big spire, the Lucky 38 Casino from New Vegas, and that's pretty much it.
That's really fun. Yeah, the Fallout universe is such an interesting one in the fact that one of its biggest things wasn't made by not only just the original creators but the newer people who did it, essentially. And so I'm curious how much of that stuff will be really used in here, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
It is kind of strange that, like, I mean, now what, Microsoft has some kind of deal with Amazon, and so Bethesda and Tim Howard can Tom Howard.
Todd
Howard. God
you got
damn.
close. You got really close.
Something. T. Howard can go over there.
Todd Howard's brother, Tim Howard.
And talk with them about it. But you know what? They also own Obsidian.
Yeah, that's the funniest thing now is if they wanted to, they could ask Obsidian to do it.
Yeah.
And Todd could do nothing about it if he wanted.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. It was interesting because it did get me thinking. So we got the release that it's coming out this December, which is interesting because you know what? It's not just like it's not a 1 year turnaround, but it's not a fucking 3 year turnaround.
No,
like
it's happened to a lot of streaming shows where it took 3 years.
A fucking Invincible, man. Like
yeah, well, the fucking Wednesday. They finally came out with a trailer for season 2, and those people are all adults now.
Right,
that shit does not make sense anymore.
But yeah, December, and I'm glad that they turned it around so fast. And apparently, I forget the name of the actor, the guy that plays the Brotherhood of Steel guy,
I don't know his
Maximus
name
or whatever.
Either,
He said, he said something like we've got material for like 5 or 6 seasons. And it's like, well, of course you do. You're making all of this up. Like, it's just the Fallout universe. You can put whatever fucking story you want in it. Like,
yeah, but you'd be surprised how some people were just like, I thought I could only think like 3 seasons ahead kind of thing.
I mean, they haven't even touched what are they called? Like the government guys.
Oh yeah,
like
they haven't even looked into that.
They haven't even gotten anywhere close to that. There's all kinds of other stuff they could do, but yeah, it's nice that we have a confirmation that's coming out in December, and that from everything I could see, I mean, it looks like they shot these like promos in addition to what they were doing. I mean, it's just an afternoon with Walton Goggins, and they've got all the fucking Nuka-Cola and they've got all the props made, so it's not like it's hard, but at least it's good to be like. I will say, Michael, that Amazon doesn't give up as easily as a lot of the other places give up, and I'm happy for that.
They even made that Lord of the Rings show a lot longer than anybody thought they were going to make that show.
They made a second season, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like Netflix would have canceled that 5 minutes into its premiere,
right? Type
of thing. Like they've give up on anything, even if it does really well.
Yeah.
Where Amazon, it's like, well, it did okay, so let's keep going, and then maybe it'll keep going from there. Like everything they've ever canceled has at least had 2 seasons on it.
Yeah.
Even The Tick, which I'm a big fan of The Tick, but it's a shame that didn't get any farther. But I'm happy they gave them that much time at least.
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice that they're keeping going, because so far, I don't know about. Okay, here, let's I'm waffling too much. This is only story number 1. Is Fallout the best video game adaptation thing that we've ever seen?
It depends on who you ask, because
what's better? What's in the running to be better than that?
At the time, it was The Last of Us. Because of
okay.
season 1. Because season 1 of The Last of Us is honestly, like, to me, one of the most perfect adaptations of a game.
Yeah.
And not because I think the game story is like the greatest thing ever, but I think it adapted that story like almost 1 for 1.
Sure.
From about like 90% of it. And the 10% that they changed, I liked much better, kind of thing. Although the problem is that season 2 has a lot of detractors to say.
Sure.
And it's not, and some of them have valid reasons for it, because they've made a lot of changes. One, for instance, is that Abby is no longer She-Hulk.
Right. Yeah.
So it changes like her menace for like what happens as it progresses.
Mm-hmm.
But they're trying to overcompensate in different ways, which is turning some people off. And also the actress who plays Ellie looks exactly the same no matter what.
Right.
Even then, you're supposed to think that Ellie is now a young adult.
Right.
So if they look exactly the same, your brain isn't going to think that.
So
so she's having some trouble with that.
Fallout, Last of Us, what else?
Fallout, Last of Us.
So really anything else?
The Super Mario Brothers movie is fun for the most part.
I don't really count
because
that.
People really like that. What's an adaptation, Jeff?
It's an adaptation, but it's not. I don't know. It like The Last of Us and Fallout, like they do. Well, okay, Fallout doesn't actually adapt a specific story from that universe, but it captures the vibes so well that I'm willing to like.
Well, that's one of the reasons why the Fallout one has a better chance at working than the Last of Us one does.
Yeah,
because this is the reason I brought up the Last of Us being used to being a contender is that if Fallout Season 2 continues to be a great season, then it automatically wins, in my opinion.
Sure,
because of the fact that The Last of Us 2 is having a lot of people who have valid issues with it already.
Yeah,
type of thing. And I don't know. Yeah, I can't really think of too many other video game adaptations in general.
I mean, up until
that were not considered terrible.
Up until the last 2 or 3 years, the fucking Phoenix Wright movie from Japan was my favorite video game movie.
Well, that was one of the only ones I had, and then and other adaptations are anime related,
right?
Because there is a Phoenix Wright anime.
Yeah,
there's a Gungrave anime.
Sure,
for instance, like there's an anime for Persona. Like but I don't. But when it comes to live action adaptations, actually, that's the reason why you shouldn't mention Super Mario. Then is because it's not a live action one. We've got Uncharted. It's like like
Doom.
Doom gets kind of close if it was willing to like go into the demony part of it. But
Resident
it kind of tries
Evil.
To go as it.
Resident.
If you
Evil,
ask some people, Resident Evils are pretty good. The Silent Hill one. People like the first Silent Hill one. Fine.
I don't know. Tell us what you think down in the comments because we gotta move on. I'm very
curious what your guys' reactions are.
Yeah.
Because for me, for a long time, my favorite one was that Phoenix Wright.
Yeah.
Japanese one. In fact, I bought it finally because it's on Google Play. But hopefully Fallout keeps up what's going on with it, and people will love it again.
Absolutely. Speaking of Microsoft, we've got a bunch of kind of Microsoft and their subsidiaries. Microsoft and their subsidiaries news.
Yeah.
First thing is, and this is just an update for something. So you remember when the courts approved the Microsoft Activision purchase, right?
Yeah.
The FTC filed they were appealing that decision to take it up to a higher court.
They've been fighting them for what, 3 years? Something like that?
The acquisition was finalized early last year, I think. So, but we got the news this week that whatever that appeals court is, they were like, no, sir. We're gonna deal with this, which is probably for the best, because if you told Microsoft that they had to unbuy Activision at this point, it would be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
We've already released games now. We can't just unrelease them all of a sudden and change the titles on them.
But so it appears that that saga is finally over. At least as far as I know. So
the good news in that is the fact that Microsoft has decided to play nice and release stuff on other consoles, because Doom, the Dark Ages has come out on other stuff. The Tony Hawk ones are going to come out soon.
Indiana Jones did.
Yep. Hell, they're releasing Gears of War on the fucking PlayStation. They have given the fuck up.
Yep.
All the stuff that people were worried about is the one thing they definitely did not do.
It was July of 2023 when they announced the decision to finalize the sale.
Yeah, so for 2 years they've been
about
fighting
2 years that they've been waiting for appeals. So
you know what I forgot about in the live action category? That Halo show. Completely forgot about that.
Nobody remembers that Halo show.
Yeah.
Everybody hates the Halo
only
show.
got reminded because I saw a Halo thumbnail.
Well,
on
here
the
I
screen.
saw Warcraft. You remember that Warcraft movie?
They did make a Warcraft movie. Oh my goodness. These are things that happen, people.
They are.
They're real.
Let's see. In other news, the Overwatch 2 team has unionized. Basically the full team. Anybody who's not in management has thumbs up the decision.
So how many healers do they have?
I don't know how many. Yeah. Basically this is just
they got to balance out that team, Jeff. I'm just saying.
Straight announcement, kind of similar to the way that Bethesda kind of unionized a little bit a while back.
Yeah. No, I'm actually very proud of them for doing this.
Well, so here's the thing. The real question is that, because the same thing happened to Bethesda, where if they are fully unionized, the Microsoft has been like, we're not going to block you guys doing whatever you want to, but they are slow walking meetings with the union.
Yes.
So they're not, entirely on board.
Yeah, because it's easier to throw bad press at literally stopping something,
right,
than it is for just being like, well, we just don't have time.
Super busy, man.
Solar winds, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So
the news doesn't. The news doesn't take the news story headline of Microsoft's slow to talk is not soul crushing as Microsoft kills or breaks union or busts up union thing kind of thing.
I mean, what I'm hoping, at least in some part, is that I really just, I'm all in favor of people getting better treatment, but hopefully the downstream effect of this is less if people feel protected from management. It means that you might be able to get more dissent when it comes to management wants us to be a fucking free-to-play loot box shooter, and the team is like, no, we're going to go on strike if you do that, and you're going to miss your holiday season release. But that's like way in the future hypothetical. Who knows what the fuck it will happen.
Once the union is solidified and is like a solid rock, then that's one that will work out fine.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it's a precarious, song and dance.
Let's see. Tony Hawk was recently on a podcast and said that he is very much in favor of he has heard and is very much in favor of a Tony Hawk Underground remake, which is what everybody really wants.
It's true though, because every time I see like a new trailer for that, the first comment is do Underground 1 and 2 next.
Right.
Which, as far as my understanding, is the last 2 Tony Hawks anybody liked.
Yeah, I think so.
Because after that, I think it became the Wii controller
Tony Hawk Downhill,
and then it just went downhill from there,
or whatever it was called. Yeah. Tony Hawk. He said, I always have aspirations. It's not up to me generally. I'll campaign all I can, but I'm working with a much bigger company that's a lot smarter than me. Which, like, if you were Antonio Hawk, okay, like you would want them to remaster as many Antonio Hawk games as there are, right? Like you want all of them out. You're gonna get royalties for that shit, right?
Well, not only that, it keeps his name in the limelight for a long time.
Yeah, you're sitting around eating Hot Pockets and cashing checks. You want Tony Hawk Underground out there. That's more checks, more Hot Pockets.
100%. Also, Tony Hawk has my favorite social media because it's just him talking about people not realizing he's Tony Hawk.
Oh, right.
It's my favorite thing ever. My favorite is he's like in an airport and he has like his ID. And they're like, it's like Tony Hawk. I wonder what he's up to. I'm like, this is what I'm up to.
Of course I know him. He's me.
Exactly. The Bam Margera commercial or behind the scenes thing I think is interesting.
Oh, I don't know.
Because he forced them to put Bam Margera into the remake.
Yep. Apparently so. The other part of that behind the scenes stuff though is they also had a little bit. I don't know. This is very weird. So when Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remake was announced, one of the things they announced was that 4 was not going to have the campaign mode, quote unquote.
Okay.
Which it was going to be. So I don't know how familiar you are with Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. I had to go look this up. Okay?
My brother had it, so I'm a little familiar with it.
It's kind of the precursor to Underground, to Thug, because it's like you go into a level and you can just free skate throughout the level, and then there are a bunch of guys with exclamation points over their heads. You go up to them and they say,
remember that, yeah.
Go get all the numbers, or go get all the letters for the word skate in under 2 minutes. And so every time they give you a challenge, it starts a 2-minute timer. You got to do the challenge, and then you come back to them, and then you're done.
Yeah.
Well, for the remake, they've decided no. They took that out. It's just going to be like Tony Hawk 1, 2, and 3. It's going to be big open levels with a bunch of challenges in them. It's going to be 2 minutes on the timer, and you go. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to have the quest givers. They've been unclear about what exactly it's going to be, but it's not going to be that. Now, I didn't know any of this. I had to go look up a fucking YouTuber playing Tony Hawk 4. I've never fucking played Tony Hawk 4 before.
Yeah, my brother had it, so I remember that because it was, like you said, it is the precursor to that. Because there was them playing with the idea of more stuff to do outside of that. Because I guess they were starting to realize that people wanted more to do.
You couldn't get off the board, but you could go up and get a quest from a person. It's very rudimentary, very early.
That's what made Underground so exciting, quote unquote. Was that you're like, hey, you can walk around for once. So that's fucking weird.
So, okay.
It's like playing Driver 3, basically, for the first time.
Iron Galaxy is the one that's doing this conversion. And they said that when they looked at it, it was like, okay, you release Tony Hawk 1 and 2, and they have very similar gameplay across the two of them. Then you got Tony Hawk 3 and 4, you do 3, and then you look at 4 and you go like, well, this is a very different game. And so the idea being that, like, if you're releasing these as a package, what I just described to you means it's not that hard to turn Tony Hawk 4 into 1, 2, or 3, right? It's not hard to just scatter those challenges on the map, remove the quest givers, give you 2 minutes on the timer, and say do as many as you can, like with all of the other games, right? And basically, they said that they wanted to make it more congruous with Tony Hawk 3 because releasing these two games as a bundle and then having one of them be so different than the other, they thought would have been jarring and it would have made for a worse gameplay experience. Now, I'm curious to know what you think about this because on the one hand, I see where they're coming from. And they also have said that they put in like the ability in 4 to bump your timer up from 2 minutes to 60 minutes. Like you could just be like, I don't want to fucking. You just do as many as you want, like without having to start the run over, and that kind of emulates a little bit more of what it was before.
Yeah, because it wasn't like there was a shit ton of those quests to begin with.
Right.
That was one of the reasons why Underground was considered groundbreaking at the time, because it was like going from Grand Theft Auto 2 to Grand Theft Auto 3 sort of thing.
But it's also part of making these re-releases is game preservation, right? So the idea that you're going to fundamentally change the way that Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 works in the remake is a little weird to me, because it's like, well, now hold on, you didn't make this game. Like you were a steward of this game.
Yes. Well, because I've run into this issue before, and I don't mean that as in like, you know, they fundamentally changed everything per se, but they fundamentally changed everything that made the game special, in my opinion. And I don't mean this one.
Yeah.
A long time ago, people don't know about this because they stopped selling this thing for a long time. A long time ago, when one of the Ninja Turtles movies was coming out, Ubisoft had a license to just release a bunch of different Ninja Turtles games.
Yeah.
One of the things they did was they remade Turtles in Time, the arcade game, for the Xbox Live Arcade, I think PS3, you know, the PlayStation Network type thing. And so, for people who don't know, the arcade game is different because it has less levels than the Super Nintendo one, and so less bosses. But what they did was they made it from the ground up, so everything was like 3D now.
Yeah.
The problem I had with the game was they also took out every single song from the entire thing. So they had their own music that was not interesting, not boppy, was actually kind of boring for the most part. All the Turtles, a lot of them looked the same because their colors weren't distinct enough.
Okay.
So it was causing like this huge issue. And I remember playing it with my brothers. I'm like, this is not the same fucking thing at all.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's the same thing, but reshelled or whatever. I think was the name of it.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's like we wanted to remake it, but not make it fundamentally the same thing or whatever. And it's like, well, you fucking ruined it by doing too many things to it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is, like you said, it's a good example of that. It's like, because it was impossible to get an actual copy of Turtles of Time at the time.
Sure.
So it was an issue of game preservation for me, because it's like, I don't have a legal way of buying this game again.
Yeah.
At all. And it took another like 10 years for that to be a thing.
So I mean,
with this, it's like even longer than that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I would be okay with it if they released the 3 and 4 remastered this way, but they had like an emulator built in to be like, if you want to go play the original 4 completely vanilla, no upgraded graphics, no updated anything. But then see, part of that too is the fact that like, because of the way these old games had their music, like the licensing is all fucked up.
The problem with Tony Hawk is it's not just the music, it's the guest characters.
Right.
Because those guest characters aren't even in this either. Because here's the thing, they've already made changes, and I don't mean these two, in the last one.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man was part of the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and in the original version of like 4, I think it's like Wolverine and Darth Maul or something like that. And as far as I know, they're not in the game kind of thing. But they have the Doom guy, who I think was in the third one. Okay. If I remember correctly, the original one. So it's like, yeah, they can't... They were never the same games to begin with, sort of thing. So people kind of had to accept that. But when it comes to gameplay changes, that's a harder pill to swallow. But, but we run into that sort of, ironically enough, in one specific way when they re-released one of the versions of Metal Gear Solid 2. What was it, Substance? Was that the name of it?
Yeah, 2 is Substance. 3 is Subsistence.
The skateboarding sequence.
Oh, right.
in that one, because that also had a skateboarding sequence. And there was a couple other things.
Well, that was a mini game in Substance. They added that in Substance.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, they took it out of the re-releases they did.
Oh, did they?
For the 360.
Oh, the HD
stuff
collection?
Like that, because, they didn't have... Because I think it was a licensing thing. I think it was the exact same idea.
Could be.
And so... Because I think it was I don't remember the specifics, but it's like, but that's what I mean. Like, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just have to accept that a re-release isn't going to be exactly the way you want it to, because of some reason or another.
It just seems really weirdly arbitrary. Where it's like, this is for people who are. Sorry, you're not making this for fans. You're not making this for people. This is a nostalgia cash in.
Yes.
Right? So if you're cashing in people's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 nostalgia, let them do what they did back in the day. Don't change it around. Like, let them relive their childhood.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but we'll see if they end up redoing Underground. Maybe they can go the extra mile on those. Maybe that'll help.
Maybe so.
Because I think they have to get the licenses for some of those skaters.
Speaking of big changes that get made to video games, we're running out of time. Did you know that Power World took out a bunch of shit in November of last year?
I did not know that they took out stuff last year.
Yeah. So you know how in Power World it's like you throw a ball to catch a pal, and then when you want to summon that pal, you throw a ball and you summon that pal. We still throw a ball to catch a pal, but you can't throw a ball to summon a pal anymore. It got patched out November of last year.
Really?
Also, in Power World, there's like a little Breath of the Wild glider, but if you equip certain pals, like birds and bats and stuff, you can grab onto them like a glider and then have a slow fall kind of the same way the glider happens. That was patched out this week.
Damn.
And Power World actually came out and said, we are doing this because of the Nintendo suit. It is unclear to me after reading it multiple times whether this is something that they are doing until the suit is resolved, because I don't believe the suit has been resolved, or else I feel like I would have seen a news story saying
we would have heard
this has been resolved.
We would have heard that Power World lost suit.
Yes.
What I think it is, it's I think they're removing it to win the lawsuit.
Possibly.
To be like, look, we're not the same thing. Any issues you have, we can just take them out, type of thing. Please don't sue us to oblivion.
Maybe. Or it's possible that they might have done it just to avoid like an injunction while the trial is going on.
I could see that too, yeah.
If the idea was whether Nintendo legally owns these concepts, they could have said, well, we're going to temporarily patch those out right now. And then if it turns out that we are allowed to have them, we'll just put them back in. And if not, but that while that is determined, we don't want somebody to be like, you have to delist the game from a store from purchase. So
yeah, it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation type thing.
But you'll never guess, Michael, what modders have done. They're putting that shit back in.
I'm shocked, Jeff. Shocked.
Apparently, they're not putting it in like it's not super great yet. Like you don't throw a ball to get the pal out. You just kind of point at a place on the ground and the pal appears there. And then like with the glider thing, it's like so they took out the ability for you to hang on to the pals. But if you have like a bird pal in your inventory, when you glide, you get like a passive bonus to it type of thing. That's what Pocket Pair did. But then in this, they're trying to kind of put that shit back in there as well, because like, I don't know. I really appreciate the Nintendo versus like people who just want to do whatever the fuck they want to with their video games war that has been going on for my entire life, where it's just like, I don't give a fuck what you want, Nintendo. I'm going to put the shit back in Power World that I want, and I'm going to put it on fucking GitHub, and then you can sue them for it or whatever. Like,
yeah, it's an unending battle against Nintendo.
Yeah,
who is the weirdest one to have this fight with constantly?
Yep. Well, I tell you what, Nintendo might have a trump card when the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, because there was some updated language in their kind of licensing stuff that happened a few weeks back. But one of the things that people caught is that in their new kind of privacy policy in EULA, they have this clause, and it talks about like, without limitation, you agree that you will not publish, copy, modify, reverse, and share. It's basically all the stuff that you would do to have an emulator, right?
Yeah.
So,
because I did hear about this.
Yeah. But then the thing is that they reserve the right, like there's a part of this, I'm trying to find out exactly where it is. There's a part of this in the privacy policy where it says like, we also reserve the right to fully disable both the software and hardware on your system if you are not in compliance with this policy.
Yeah, here it is. It says, render the Nintendo account services and or the applicable Nintendo device permanently unusable, in whole or in part.
Yes. Oh yeah, I clicked on the wrong one. Yes. So Nintendo, man, like, I don't know how to tell you this, Nintendo. I don't know how to tell you this. Doug, are you listening? Doug, do you listen to the podcast? Doug, I've got news for you.
No.
They're not going to stop. You can start arresting them and putting them in jail. You've already financially ruined the other Bowser. I'm convinced that Doug fucking took his soul as payment. That's how he became CEO. But like,
The power of two Bowsers, yeah.
I've been watching Nintendo sue people into the ground and be fucking like have absolutely positively no goddamn chill for like 20 years, Michael. They've been trying to be like, ooh, if we just come down on them even harder, then they'll stop. They'll never stop.
No.
There is no stopping them.
It's that Michael Scott meme where it's like, well, you know what? I'm just going to piracy even harder.
Right. Not only does it not stop them, but they take it as an invitation to do it more.
It's a challenge.
You know, you're like, no, we've created the most unemulatable, unhackable system of all time. And somebody's like, have you now? Because I've got a paperclip and some solder and a Linux distro, and I'm going to get Linux on this motherfucker. You best believe it.
Look, guys, you can make that Titanic as many times as possible. That iceberg's just waiting for you. Is what we're saying here.
Yes,
that iceberg is so fucking excited.
Yeah, I will be interested to see if this gets used. It's one thing to put this in your terms of service. It's another thing to hit the like, I made your $450 console into a paperweight. Like, I've never been in a world, Michael, where somebody in the big security room from like the cartoons is able to push a button and my Switch doesn't work anymore because I tried to hack a patch for Power World onto my Nintendo Switch 2.
This is kind of already a thing, though. Like, this has always been kind of a thing. But the difference is that they've never outright said that they'll destroy your Switch. Difference is kind of the difference.
They can cancel your online. That's been around for a long time.
What it was is not only would they cancel your online, they were set up to where certain. I don't even remember if it was just Nintendo. I could have sworn there was another type of console that did this.
Sure.
Which was that console was just rendered unable to go online anymore.
Sure.
Because it was caught doing something, which is it was an issue that happened in the used market because people were selling them and being like, yeah, I don't use my Nintendo Switch anymore. Give me $120 for it. And, it's like much cheaper. And then you get it and you're like, fuck, they hacked it. They tried to hack it and they fucked up the whole thing. And Nintendo like shut the whole thing down. But what I'm interested in is whether or not is how far it goes now.
Yeah.
Because because those other ones you could probably still kind of maybe play a game on it or something.
You can put in physical media.
Yeah.
Right?
This one is saying like, oh, this thing would be unusable.
Right.
So like, what does that really mean? And also, how do you really know that you did it to someone who didn't fuck up?
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to cause the issue at the end down the line.
Well, and then not to not to give anybody any fucking ideas, but if there is something in this Nintendo Switch, if there's something that can be sent to this Nintendo Switch that can render the hardware inoperable, can't be turned on, you guys, they're going to go looking for it, and then they're going to look for a way to fucking like put some malware on the fucking Switch 2 store that once you get to level 3 it fucking bricks your Switch, like some bullshit AI cook serve delicious game that fucking little Timmy downloaded at Christmas, and it turns out it's got fucking malware in it, and all the malware does is turn your Switch into a paperweight Switch, and then you got some fucking mom that's like, what the fuck happened to my god? I mean, like, I don't know, there's so many. Like, not having that ability is safer for everyone.
It is.
Like,
it's safer for everyone. If we found out all Nintendos had Fox die,
right, I
just don't see me trusting it.
Right. Like, I mean, it's well within your rights for Microsoft to put thermite in the top of my Xbox and like, fucking melt through it if I try to do something wrong. But like, there's a lot of other things that could happen when you hit that Switch.
Exactly.
So
it's just, and we can also say Switch as many times as we want.
Yes.
Before you guys start losing it.
Switch. No, I mean, I was talking about my Xbox, but yeah, with that, we got some more Switch 2 news, but we're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we come back. We're gonna have to bring the lightning because I opened up too many tabs. I had too many tabs this week. Stick around. And we're back. And when we last left, we were talking about Nintendo and their lack of chill. We've got more Nintendo has no chill stories.
Sounds about
right. Apparently, one of the other things that was changed in the EULA is that now when you agree, or when you hit agree on Nintendo Switch 2, you agree to to binding arbitration.
Oh, Jesus.
And you say that you reject your right for any class action lawsuits against Nintendo. And I'm like, oh, this is because of Joy-Con drift. Yes. This is because there was a class action against Nintendo because of Joy-Con drift, and they were like, not anymore, suckers. It's going to be like that Nintendo thing where that woman died at whatever, and it turns out there was a woman that had an extreme allergic reaction at like a Disney restaurant.
Oh, that.
And then because her husband had hit agree on a Disney.
You're talking about that
Plus thing.
That makes more sense.
But here it's like
you said Nintendo, so that's why I was confused.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, she got allergic to Nintendo. What happened?
She's totally allergic to Nintendo.
She ate Mario spaghetti and she died.
She ate one of those mushrooms, but it was the one with the little skull on it.
Yeah.
And so
they didn't know about it.
I'm sorry, I just should make jokes about some poor lady.
Everybody made the jokes, Jeff. It's too late.
But yes, you are no longer allowed to sue Nintendo directly or engage in any kind of class action lawsuit. This arbitration provision precludes you and Nintendo from suing in court, having a trial by jury, or participating in a class action. You and Nintendo agree that arbitration will be solely on an individual basis and not as a class arbitration, class action, or any kind of representative proceeding. Fuck you, Nintendo. Like, if you put out a product that has like fundamental issues, it's okay to gather up all the people with those issues and come at you. Like, don't make a shit ass joystick.
Yeah,
look, that's the problem.
Just don't give them a reason to do it.
Right.
That's really like if the Switch 2 came out and for some reason they were bursting in the flames.
Right.
Of course, people are going to want to sue you for it.
Right.
Type of thing. Hell, they might even throw this thing out because this is the issue with this specific arbitration clause is that more and more companies are doing it to the point where there's no reason for anybody to even know it's in there nowadays.
Right.
That some courts are even like challenging them on that.
Well, yeah, just because you hit agree to this doesn't mean it'll stand up in court.
Exactly.
Like a good lawyer is just going to be like, no, you can't just waive your rights away by hitting I agree on a Mario thing.
Yeah. Like a lot of people won't understand that because a lot of people who play Nintendo are children.
Yeah,
this is the other thing.
Yep.
You're telling a 12-year-old to not sue them.
You agree to binding arbitration.
Yeah. And even like moms, like the mom's not going to fucking pay attention to that shit.
Yep. There's a few other things. Let's see. This is kind of a weird one, but Digital Foundry, they do the kind of graphics stuff. They had a news story that came out last week where apparently Nintendo has a tester that they're providing to developers that allows them to basically simulate the API calls that the Nintendo Share button, the chat button, will do, which seems to indicate that chat button eats into the resources that are available to software, that it's not like a purely system thing.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you wouldn't have any need to test that feature.
Exactly.
Because it wouldn't touch any of the allocated memory or processing time.
Oh, no.
Which makes sense if you're streaming 4 other people's games and cameras to your system.
There's not really a way to do that without that kind of thing.
I mean, you'd have to have a lot more. You'd have to have like a dedicated chip for it.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if the Switch is not the console for that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Now, this is all conjecture. Like, the fact that test exists doesn't necessarily mean that what I just said is true. It just implies that there is something that needs to be tested if you are running software with that share feature active.
It does make making other games for it more difficult if that's an implication that exists.
Yes. But it is unclear at this point. Again, we don't have a Switch 2 yet, so
Jeff, are you saying Nintendo's going to hurt these children?
I didn't say they were going to hurt these children. I didn't say they were going to hurt anybody. What are you not getting? I feel like you're not getting it, Michael.
I'm not getting it. I'm not. I'm just fucking with you guys.
But yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens because it is unclear at this point, and we won't really know until we get the Switch 2 in our hands because Nintendo is very much a closed ecosystem and they don't tell anybody shit.
This is the reason why third parties have such a hard time with Nintendo.
Yeah.
But no one's going to know until this thing's out.
How about some kind of goodish news? So I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently there are a lot of hardware that runs on batteries these days that will have a switch in the hardware that will let you basically not top the battery off because charging the battery all the way to the top over and over and over again is part of what contributes to more degradation in battery time. And apparently the Switch 2 is also going to have a feature where you can basically cap the charge at 90% so that it doesn't ever like fill all the way up. Now that's going to obviously mean that you can't play the Switch as long on a full charge because you aren't starting with a full charge, right? But it is going to be there, and it is going to be an option that people can turn on if they want it. So
that's great for people who actually are doing the handheld part of it. Because me and you aren't those people.
No,
we don't really do the handheld part of it. Even when I do the handheld part of it, it's plugged into it.
Right.
Like I'm not like on a bus playing it, or I'm not the commercial basically.
You're not going to a rooftop party with a bunch of young friends playing Mario Tennis with two Switches propped up back to back.
Here's the thing, Jeff. If I was, I would still plug the goddamn thing in. Like that's the thing that I always think is funny about that sort of thing. Like I would never raw dog a Nintendo Switch battery is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I would make sure there was some level of things, because I've done that. I've the only time I've ever taken my Switch anywhere handheld wise is when I get my oil changed, and it's because it can pass the time much easier if you're sitting there playing Mario Brothers for like an hour.
I took my Switch on it was one year where I went to my parents' house for Christmas, and I took it and a few games with me as my way of playing games when I was up there, as opposed to like, you know, fucking dragging a console on an airplane to my parents' house.
And I did that when I went to Comic-Con. But the thing is that a lot of the things that you can use it for that don't involve plugging it in kind of thing, I would get sick from. So I can't do it on a bus. I can't do it in a car. I can't do it on like an airplane.
Sure.
That type of thing. So I've never been that specific gamer. But I do see it all the time. When I was at a friend's birthday, their friend's like 12-year-old had a Switch on them, and they were playing Fortnite while they were there. So like, this is a great thing for those people. Yeah. For, you know, me and you, that thing never leaves the goddamn dock.
I would probably just turn it on even in the dock, because who cares? Like,
exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah. If it's in the dock and plugged in at all times, it's not really an issue.
Yeah. And then last but not least in the Switch parade, wait, what was this other one? Oh, God damn it. My browser is now being a piece of shit. Okay. Not quite done. We got two more stories from the Switch. We got confirmation that Hogwarts Legacy, Civilization 7, and at least one other game in this list are going to require a $10 upgrade if you bought them on the Switch to be then compatible on the Switch 2.
See, that's more of a normal upgrade price kind of thing. My issue with the other ones, they were like, what, 18 or something like that? 18, 20?
They were whatever the difference was between the price of that game originally and $80. So
which is ridiculous.
If it was a $60 game, it would be a $20 upgrade type of thing.
I still think that's ridiculous.
I was actually thinking about it, and I was thinking that, like, I think when the PS3 to PS4 switch happened, that there were a lot of games that did have a $10 up charge to play it on the new console.
Well, yeah, the PS4, the PS5 did it too.
Did it? Okay. Yeah. I didn't remember quite how many of those happened, so I wasn't sure whether this was like strange or not. I think it may be the first time though I've seen it on a Nintendo system, but that's only because every Nintendo system was so different that there was no way to play. Well, no, that's not true. Not true.
What makes it strange is the price. It's not so much the upgrade part, because I was talking to a friend about it when they first happened, and they were arguing. They were like, I don't want to do that at all. I'm like, look, I've done that for Mortal Kombat 11, I did it for Avengers, I did it for fucking Ghost of Tsushima. I did it for a lot of my PS4 games to make sure that I had the PS5 version of them. But they were all $10 each.
Right.
So that's a much
10
easier...
to 15 was a much more reasonable ask.
And the best part is that you could buy a lot of those games used for way less.
Right.
So you could go to, like, say for the Uncharted 4 one, you could buy Uncharted for like $5 half the time, because there's so many of copies given back. And then it would be another 10 to get the PS5 version. The problem with the Switch doing this is that all of those games will consistently be $60 forever and ever. Yep. And some will be even higher because they don't make them anymore.
It's very true.
So it becomes more of an issue with Nintendo, because you're always going to be paying $80 no matter what.
Well, but these games are more likely to go on sale, like, because these are WB games. But the first party ones,
Breath of the Wild, Kirby, those are the ones that I have issues with. Because even those are the ones that, because these all cost $10, which is the way the other ones are.
Right.
But those other ones, like you said, were like a $20 difference.
It was some kind of difference.
Something pretty massive.
I think it was one where it was like, was it Mario Party where it was like Mario Party was $50 and then it was like a $30 upgrade?
Yeah,
or something
it was
like
the
that?
Mario Party Jamboree one or whatever. I think is what
God,
it was.
I fucking hate Mario Party. So yes, let's see, and then let's round this out. We're gonna get into a little tariff stuff here. We're talking a little bit. There's a few stories in here that have to do with kind of like fiscal quarters. So Nintendo was talking about basically, the cost of their systems and tariffs. And it was interesting because what they talked about was that they might at some point, I don't know, they're very concerned about the tariffs because, I was just thinking about this the other day, like, can you imagine what it's like to be a fucking business that relies on stuff made anywhere else, like from one day to the next? Because today, I think it was today or yesterday as of recording this, like the Chinese tariffs are down to 20%, I think.
It's 30 last I checked.
Was it 30?
That was the last thing. For all I know, it changed. That's the problem. It could be 20 right now, and I have no fucking idea because it changes every 20 seconds.
Yeah. And so how the hell are you supposed to plan for the future?
It's to not get too into it. It's the main reason why there are some issues for everybody is that people can't forecast at all,
right? Because
of that issue, and Nintendo's now run into that issue.
So yeah, they were talking about basically how right now they are like, it was interesting because they talked about one of the reasons that they raised the price of the accessories, but not the main consoles, because the accessories are mostly made in China, as opposed to the main consoles are being made in Vietnam. And they also talked about how they really don't want to raise the price of the Switch 2 because they need the install base for a new console. If they put it out and people are hesitant about buying it because it's too expensive, then you don't get the install base. And if you don't have that initial install base, then you're not selling the software where the real money is.
Well, yeah, because the main issue is that if you raise the price of your games, you can't raise the price of the console because now you're asking for too much at that point.
Yes.
And I've seen... we have seen consoles live and die by their prices being too high on the get-go.
Fucking PS3 took an entire generation to get back from that.
The Xbox One when it first came out, because they fucking had to have see, I already forgot the fucking what it's called.
Fuck.
The voicey thingy. I don't remember. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do, but I'm mad that I can't remember what it's called.
I know, that's the thing. It sucked so much I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Connect. You had to have an Xbox Connect with it no matter what.
Yes.
So it already made it more expensive than a PS4 was by default.
Right.
And this was one I think you could still buy PS4s in different space amounts or some shit. I can't remember. Either way, it was a bad decision.
Yes.
So if you're asking if Nintendo is already saying $80 games, if you're then you say, hey, also the console's like $600, you've already lost.
Right.
It's just, it was never going to work if that was the case.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of the first times I've ever seen somebody where they were talking about here's a quote from this press conference. If prices of daily necessities like food increase because of tariffs, then people will have less money to spend on game consoles. If we were to adjust the price of the Switch 2 in response to tariffs, this could decrease demand.
Exactly.
Right. So it's nice to actually just see somebody say that shit out loud in a way that makes me not feel like a crazy person, because it's like, yeah, man, fucking those Wendy's burgers are getting a little pricey. I don't know if I can afford both video games and food.
Yeah, a small, a little hamburger is like $1.89 at McDonald's now.
Yeah.
Those things were like 75 cents.
Yep.
10 years ago.
Yep.
A mom's going to be at a grocery store, one of those like a Target, basically. They're buying groceries and their kid's going to be like, buy me the Switch 2. And if it's $700 and the bread's also $5 for a loaf now, they're like, I'm not going to fucking do that.
Yep. See, another tariff news. There was so again, all this shit is up in the air. And as I said, it changed just recently. But last week there was there was this organization called the Consumer Technology Association that had a report that they come out with that basically talked about they were doing the actual math to show how much the maximum increase on basically electronics and consumer goods could be,
yes,
depending on some of these tariffs. And that's based on like the 145%, like we're having a tariff war thing. But the thing I thought was fucking crazy about this would be like, the estimate here was that game console prices at a maximum could basically go up by like 70%. And to put that in perspective, the figure that was here was $428 added to the price of a PS5 Pro. So PS5 Pro being, and this is worst case scenario on tariffs that don't exist right now.
Yes.
Like who the fuck knows what's going to happen tomorrow?
Changed his mind for now.
Right. But like, when you get into this shit, it's like $1,000 for a Nintendo or for PlayStation? Like, are you kidding me with this? No, that's not.
It's just not. It's not feasible. It's not sustainable for anyone.
Yeah,
both the companies, both for us, both for anybody who has their hand in this thing.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's a game console. Think about the other things you have to buy.
Well, it's funny because in this, like, there's a graph here that they've got, but it's funny because in this graph, like, the potential increase in consumer price percentage, like, is 30% for smartphones and 34% for tablets, and 25% for consumer accessories, and like 25% essentially for desktop computers. But video game consoles are like 70 because they're not computers; they're toys.
Yes,
like they're classified as toys, and so they're put in the same category as fucking, I don't know what kids have these days, hula hoops and Barbie dolls,
the Skibidi toilets.
Skibidi toilets, yeah,
they make Skibidi toys.
The
now,
Rizzler action figures,
exactly.
Like whatever it is. So I actually really think that it might behoove the industry to push to reclassify consoles as something besides a toy, because man, this motherfucker has more chips than like some laptops I've owned.
It's true. It's more powerful than most electronics in my house.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just something to keep in mind. But yeah. Also, Sony is out there. They had an investor meeting where they were talking about the overall price of stuff, and they basically said that like they had two kind of things. One thing is they said that like, God, this must be such a hard thing for them. They said that like, if it really came to it, we could make a domestic United States PlayStation manufacturing facility to get around this horse shit. And I'm like, but that would take like 7 years to build. It would take a long time. Spool up. Like, maybe.
Also, could you imagine, Jeff, a made in America PlayStation?
I don't want it. I don't want it.
That's a horrifying idea.
I don't want it.
I know you guys think I'm like, oh, I'm saying that as a picture. No, I don't want that. That sounds horrifying.
No, I don't want it.
I have so many things that were made in America that fell apart within seconds.
Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about the whole like, oh, we're going to make everything in America from now on. And all I could think about was that episode of 30 Rock where they make the couches.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have the commercial where the guy's like, when did we all become so soft? Like, here's a real couch. It's like a rock to sit on.
I also think of Liz's pants. Made in the USA. No, that's his made in USA, which is an internment camp or some shit somewhere. Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I kind of get what they mean on this one.
But yeah, I mean, the other thing that this meeting basically said was, there's a very good possibility that Sony might raise the price. Now, the price of all their stuff, just like everybody else did, because Microsoft did it last week. Nintendo obviously is some of that baked in.
Everyone's doing it.
It's got to be
peer pressure, Jeff.
Yeah,
because Walmart said they're going to do it too.
Yep. Now, here's the thing: like, it is worth going back to that where Nintendo is talking about, like, even if we take a hit to our profits, that like we still need because the console doesn't do anything. The games don't do anything without the console.
Yes.
So people have to have the console in order to buy your video games, and that's where you make the most money. So the idea of like raising the cost of the games to $80, but even taking a profit hit to make sure that the console remains where it is right now is very feasible. could very much happen, because it's no good raising the cost of a PS5 Pro to $1,000 if nobody's going to fucking buy it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, then you can't sell the new whatever. You know, you can't sell Wolverine if nobody's got a fucking PS5 to play it on.
Yeah.
So,
what is the there's an economical term. It's kind of like supply and demand, but it's not exactly like supply and demand.
Yeah.
It's like cost versus profit, I think, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but it's based on like certain factors. I can grab a cup and walk up to somebody and say, this cup is worth $3 million.
Right.
Which is all well and good, but somebody has to buy it.
Yep.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening with if you do that to anything else, especially with tariffs, whether it's cookies, whether it's, steaks, anything. It's like you can only raise a price so much before you've priced out the world.
It's if y'all remember, we can go back 2 years, maybe 3, when we talked about crypto. You can have $100 million in crypto coins, but it doesn't mean anything unless you can find somebody to exchange those coins for an actual $100 million.
Yes.
And
the main thing that we're worried about is more about being priced out of our hobby.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, hey, let me be honest. The thing I'm worried about is getting priced out of this website. Like,
yes,
I can't, the Patreon, I'm not soliciting. I mean, please, people, patreon.com/RageSelect is how we keep this thing in business. But I buy all these games outright, and I don't get paid. I don't get sent PS5s or Xbox. Everything in my room here is something I bought because of the donations of the audience.
Yeah, we're not like the Greg Millers and stuff in the world where they're just being sent stuff willy-nilly. Like, we have to get all of this stuff ourselves. Hell, like, I've bought in some of the games we've played on this channel.
Very true. So it's and so it's kind of fucked up to think that the one thing I enjoy a lot, that's not even to mention I'm still, Michael, just briefly, everybody else stop. This is just for Michael and I.
And the grandmas can stay.
Grandmas, you can stay. I'm like, what is the 100% movie tariff mean about my anime? Is my Crunchyroll subscription gonna go up because of this motherfucker is like, we need to move all anime production to Wyoming? And I'm like, what? No. How would that even fucking work?
I'm terrified I'm gonna have to spend way too much to buy Dragon Ball Daima physically. It's gonna be like, you remember when we were younger and buying say Trigun was like $400?
Yeah.
It's gonna be that again.
Yeah.
And I don't want that again.
I don't want that again.
Those were dark times.
I didn't like those times.
Those were very dark times, guys.
I spent $75 on a burned VCD of the 08th MS Team Gundam at like a shady store downtown because I was like, this is the only way to get this. I can't get it anywhere else.
Yeah, and if you did, it was way more than that.
Yeah.
Because you remember they used to sell actually they still do this in Japan, by the way, if people don't know this, is you would buy like 3 episodes a disc type things.
Yep.
But they were all like $30 each.
Fuck yep.
I don't want that. I don't want that again, guys.
Anyway.
Please don't make me go back.
Let's light things up. Let's talk about Helldivers. Let's talk about the hell world we live in.
I'm just kidding.
Go to the Helldivers. Helldivers got their new thing coming out, and I really appreciate the fact that the Helldivers are still managing to do their thing. The Illuminate are on like a 4-planet course for Super Earth.
Oh my goodness.
They're right around the corner. There's a bunch of new flying units that they've got. They're also adding in a bunch of weapon attachments that are new. Like, you customize all your weapons and stuff now.
Oh, okay.
But I think that, like, I really appreciate the fact that, like, I'm so glad that the Helldivers community gets to keep up with this bullshit where it's like,
it's a fun thing to have.
The Illuminate is heading for Super Earth. All citizens to your fucking hell pods, to your dive bombs, or whatever.
Well, what's great about it still being a thing is that they all still react as if they're part of a war.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I've seen, because I every now and then I go back and check up on the Helldivers as an ex-veteran, essentially, at this point, because I haven't gone back in a while.
Yeah.
I check back on the thing, and it's just like people being like, "Okay, fucking get ready, guys." I was like, and people were just like, "I gotta get out of work and I'll join you guys," just like shit like that. And I'm just like, I love it. It just makes me happy that there's this large group of people who are part of something.
They're just LARPing that Starship Trooper life.
It's great. It's kind of amazing, actually.
Yeah. It's great. And it just started up with a new war bond with some crazy shit in it. So, yeah, if you're into...
And they added swords or something to it?
I think if I'm reading this, so this article that I was reading, maybe I should have watched this, the Masters of Ceremony. I think it's a flag. I think it's a flag that you get that you could then stab people.
No, I think, there it is. It's a cavalry sword.
Oh, cavalry sword.
It's a cavalry sword that you can get in the game now.
Oh, okay. And there's also the latest one has like bayonets, the weird pointy hats and shit. I don't know. I swear to God, I saw an article that mentioned a new deployable.
Oh yeah, there it is. The one true
flag that you can stab monsters with the super Earth flag. Like,
look at how fascist that looks, but also, but also kind of patriotic at the same time.
It's like this World War I Kaiser hats and fucking the big tall hats and everything.
Like they have the spikes in the helmets and everything.
Yep.
Like there's no way around it, guys.
Well, no, but that's the whole thing,
that's
right?
The joke,
like,
yes, that is the joke. But I know people don't get the joke sometimes.
Sometimes people take the joke seriously, and that's stupid. But
God bless Super Earth.
Yeah. Yep. Good. Yes. Godspeed to you, Helldivers. Protect us from the Xenos.
Exactly. I still can't believe every time I watch that original trailer, I was like, I don't know about this, and then it came out. I'm like, oh, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
I still just can't believe that fucking Helldivers is back, and it's really popular.
And it's incredibly popular.
Holy shit!
Helldivers 1, we had to convince people to even look at it.
Yep.
Now it's and you can't stop people from playing Helldivers.
Okay. All right. We're gonna pick up the pace a little bit. See how many of these we can get through. Fortnite won their case against Apple, and they are now able to accept basically direct payments from people. Mm-hmm. And to celebrate, on phones and the PC, not consoles, but phones and the PC, Fortnite is now offering 20% back in V-Bucks if you buy from them directly. So when you go to check out, like they show on your phone here, that you can choose
the Epic Game Store itself.
Yeah, if you go through the Epic Game Store directly without using the payment methods on the iPhone, you get 20% back in credit. And that's huge.
No, that's a lot. That's actually quite a bit.
Yeah.
Because that means that because for people this is a good example. The 2,800 V-Bucks is the 20-something one.
$23.
You get $4 back for that.
You get $4.50 back. Yeah.
That means that's actually quite a bit.
Yeah.
That means if you got it twice, you already could probably get their $10 one very easily.
Right.
That's actually kind of crazy. Also, you can just go to their Fortnite shop on your phone.
Yes.
And it'll probably be part of that.
With linked accounts, with the console accounts, if you buy it through the store on your PC with your linked account, you still get the thing and you still get the points back, but you just have to do it outside of the ecosystem.
The only one that doesn't work on, by the way, is the Switch, for people who want to know.
Oh, yeah.
The Switch has its own locked V-Bucks ecosystem for some reason.
Yeah. But yeah, and they just put out the big Star Wars Battle Pass with a bunch of it's like Mace Windu's in there and stuff. So
they delayed the bonus thing till tomorrow, actually, till the 16th. That doesn't matter to you guys because by now it'll have happened.
Yeah, by the time this is out, you'll already see it. Let's see. Shifting gears dramatically, they've canceled the next Kingdom Hearts game.
Really?
The next Kingdom Hearts game was going to be a Pokemon Go style phone game that you.
Well, I definitely don't care now.
I just wanted you all to get nervous for a second.
I didn't honestly.
Toy with your emotion.
I don't. The funny thing is, I don't care about Kingdom Hearts. I was just more curious what that meant.
Yes.
Was there an actual game they were making?
Yeah, it's called Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. It was a Pokemon Go style, mobile geocache located thing.
It's a terrible idea.
Yeah, I don't know how that works, but apparently that was going to be the next thing. And so they worked on it, and they canceled it, which, if you've been paying attention to Square Enix over the last few years, is not surprising because they've been canceling everything and just making what they have on deck right now is Final Fantasy VII remake, the Final Fantasy 14, the next Final Fantasy, and then Kingdom Hearts 4 and Dragon Quest 13, and that's pretty much all they're making.
Yeah, they sold off everything. They sold off everything else.
Yeah, or canceled or turned off the servers.
Yes, or turned off the servers, kind of thing. And the fact, and the thing, a lot of Kingdom Hearts fans are probably happy about it being canceled.
Yes,
it's probably they don't have to play this phone game to understand this one weird plot point that's probably in there.
Yes. Let's see, another JRPG news. We got a brief. We got a brief teaser for something Persona related, and people thought that it might be Persona 6, even though it's totally got the Persona 5.
It's clearly Persona 5
stuff. But what was interesting is that this took long enough that we found out what it is. There is a new Persona 5 game that is called Persona 5 The Phantom X, I think. And it is a gacha phone game, but it's also going to be out on the PC. And it's like it's a parallel timeline to the PS5, where it's like, well, what if the Phantom Thieves were an entirely different set of people in an entirely different world?
Oh, that's kind of weird, but sure.
But it also appears to have all the same like combat and doing stuff, and I was trying to find if I could find where the actual trailer starts, or maybe that was the start of the trailer. The combat and doing stuff and walking around, and it's 3D, and yeah. Oh wait, that was a different part. And the thing is that it's coming to the PC, right?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be on phones, but it's going to be on the PC.
Like it looks really nice,
and I'm pretty sure that it's probably also going to end up on consoles at some point, right? Because it looks exactly like Persona 5. Like it just looks like a Persona 5 game.
There's nothing. It doesn't feel like there's anything underutilized. A lot of people forget, by the way, that Persona 5 started off as I want to say it was a PS3 game, something like that.
No, that's 4. 4 was a PS2 game.
And then 5 was supposed to be a PS4 game originally. No, sorry,
PS3 game. That. Yeah, and then got moved to 4.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of these games that get made for so long that they were made for older hardware.
Right.
So that might be one of the reasons why it can still look as good as it does.
Yeah,
because stuff like even phones have progressed to the point where you can do this. Although it's going to eat your battery like it's no fucking tomorrow. But it looks great, though.
Hey, the fact that it's on PC, I'll play it on PC, man.
Yeah, no, it looks fantastic.
I mean, all of the art style and the cutscenes and the 3D models and stuff all looks very Persona, right?
The only issue comes down to the gacha part of it. But, if you can get past that, you're going to have... I know a lot of friends who love that shit, so they're going to have a great time.
So, I mean, not every gacha game is like... if a gacha game is done well, then it should be... I played fun gacha games before where you're like, oh, yeah, great. Can't wait to see that.
I have my old high school friends. They'll talk about, like, hey, I did this thing where I did the gacha where I got this character and this character. And they might as well be speaking actual Japanese to me because I don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
So for them, they would be very excited for this type of game.
Not only that, but it has a release date of, what is it? It's like July 26th, and that's June 19th. No, that's a different game. What is it? June 26th. Yes, June 26th. So next month, worldwide. So it's. I'm assuming it's going to have at least subtitle, like English version.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we're 30 days away from a Persona game, or a little bit more.
That's not what I had on my bingo card for this year. But
yeah,
it could go either way.
I saw it as a rumor, and then when I started looking into it, I was like, oh, holy shit, okay. Let's see. In other news, we got a little bit of, I don't know. It's interesting to see. Grand Theft Auto 6 was delayed last week, right? And then we got the new trailer.
Yeah.
There was a story this week I was reading on Kotaku where it was like, this has fucked up a lot of the game industry because there were a lot of people that had moved their games from fall of this year to spring of next year to get out of the fucking way of Grand Theft Auto 6. And there's one company that's like, well, we can't release this fall because we redid our whole development structure for next year.
Oh my goodness.
But we can't delay until fall of next year because our company will go out of business.
Yeah.
Because you can't just sit around indefinitely waiting for Grand Theft Auto to come out so that you're not in the fucking splash zone of Grand Theft Auto 6.
The first I heard of this happening was that somebody asked, I think it was EA about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're feeling really good about Battlefield right now.
Right,
That's
right.
what they were saying.
Yeah.
Because they were probably just as worried at the time, but they were willing to take the shot.
Yeah.
But, they got lucky if that was the case. They stared down the Grand Theft Auto and they survived.
It's weird though, because you think about it and you're like, well, no, that must suck. Like nobody wants to be anywhere near that release.
No.
Right?
You do not want to be that guy.
And so you're like, should there be a law where you've got to tell me when the game is going to come out? Because like
it wouldn't make any. There's no way to make that law work though. You would have to somehow it would be only be called the Rockstar law.
Yeah,
because there's no other game that would have that sort of
I don't
situation.
know. It's like when you're planning on this stuff. Games are weird. They're not like other industries where it's like a year from now when the next fucking Marvel movie is going to come out. But like I don't know. Game companies are like I don't know, Q4 maybe some other time, and it's like, motherfucker, my company could get put out of business if I'm within a month of your release. When are you releasing the game?
Because movies shift their stuff like that the same way, but they don't risk going out of business that way,
right?
Because they have it doesn't cost them, and they don't use the amount of money that would cause them to make or break every single time they make a movie.
Yes. So
this is the craziest thing about. I didn't even think about. I only started thinking about it because of the Battlefield one.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about us having talked about other games that they're like, well, it's announced for spring 2026, and we always said it's probably because they're trying to avoid running into Grand Theft Auto 6.
Right.
Not even thinking about what this did to all of those people who made that announcement.
It was like you're in a boss fight and there's that big target on the ground where the missile's gonna go, and then you like move over to the other side and then the target just goes whoop, and then it's like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, it's that fucking oh yeah, I saw this video that made me laugh really hard. I think it was a Doom one. It was playing like this one of the large, I think it was like a cyber demon or something, and it was what it did is that it had this attack that like it'll point at you, and if like it follows you and then eventually it fires. Well, what happened was, I don't know if it was a glitch or not, but what happened was that the cyber demon just stayed on him, and it just didn't fire, and he was staring at it for like a good like 10 seconds, and then he said look behind him, and then once he did, it shot him over the back, and it was just like he didn't know what to do.
I'm wondering,
that's what's happening here.
I'm wondering if we're going to see a bunch of stuff get announced for fall of this year.
Just haphazardly,
well, and then end up being broken. If we're going to see a bunch of games rush to release,
that's the only thing that some of these guys can do. Or some of them will try to releasing in the winter.
Yep. Or like January, February,
December,
maybe.
January.
Try that.
Like probably the December time, like the way fucking Marvel, the card game one did, like
Snap?
December.
Marvel Snap.
Yeah, no, what is that card RPG one that they made? That Fire Axis made.
Oh, Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns.
Yes,
Midnight Suns came December, so did Indiana Jones.
Right.
Like, that would be their best bet now, is to just...
Right.
To, like, delay to that point so they can finish as much as they can.
Yeah.
Because those people, those poor bastards.
I mean, like, it's probably not a big deal for big companies, but for small companies, like, holy shit.
Yeah, you guys, you poor bastards.
Let's see. There's a big... there's one of the more... reliable leakers online has come out to say that they were asked on Discord basically about GTA 4 remaster, and they said that there is that it's probably been in development for a year, and there's a very good chance that we might see a GTA 4 remaster drop before the year is out.
I would super love that.
No, what you would super love is the other part of that message that was like, in addition to GTA 4, the next thing on Rockstar's list is a remaster of Max Payne 3.
Oh.
So a remaster. So Remedy's already working on a remaster of Max Payne 1 and 2. And then if Rockstar does a remaster of Max Payne 3, I don't know. I just hope that Rockstar doesn't fuck up their next remaster. They don't have a good track record right now. I guess the Red Dead one was okay, but...
Well, it's because they didn't do what they did to those other ones.
Right.
Because when they did that, when they remastered, and I'm using quotey fingers, remastered the Grand Theft Auto trilogy, they made Abominations is what they did.
Very true.
Whereas, although it would be really, really funny to play Max Payne 3 and see like an Abomination version of Max Payne.
The weird fucking GTA 3 googly eye motherfuckers.
Yeah, because Max Payne 3 is a gorgeous game even now.
Yep.
Like, so if they made a shitty, like, weird looking version of it, I might try it just to see what it would look like.
Yep. Let's see. Speaking of Remedy, we got the news that Control 2's budget's going to be dramatically lower, or not anywhere near what Alan Wake 2's was.
I did hear about this, and it makes sense though.
It's going to be like what, 50 million euros,
which is still quite a bit though.
Yeah, but they're trying to keep, I mean, like, I actually appreciate this because one of the things that we've seen is games with bigger and bigger and longer development times and budgets, which means that, like, the larger the budget gets, the more every release is like, if this doesn't do well, we're fucked kind of thing.
Well, hell, Alan Wake 1 was that for them.
Right.
They were scared shitless that they were going to lose everything because Alan Wake 1 didn't do as well as they were hoping to. That's why Quantum Break was an Xbox exclusive, because Xbox helped pay for it.
Yeah. But I'm glad. I mean, we've had a lot of, like, we've had what's the quote here? I think that with 50 million euros, I think that with that we can create excellent games at that budget, and that if the game were to sell 2 million copies, that we would break even. We were to break even per game, and it's like, oh, that's very doable. So
yeah, it's something we've been talking about for years, which is that I would rather play shorter games that don't cost as much, more often than play 70 billion hour games that don't sell well enough, even though they're probably good, and the whole thing goes down because they didn't sell 3 million instead of 2.
Sure. Speaking of development teams, okay, we got to run through these real quick. Speaking of development teams, let's see. Hold on, let me just move 2 things here. Whoop, whoop. Okay, we'll do that one next. Speaking of development teams, EA is basically pushing back to the full everybody's got to come into the office bullshit. Not just that, but apparently one of the things that they're doing is regardless of how far away you work, you will be like, they are going to determine whether you have to be a hybrid come to the office or not. It's not like based on your location. It's based on like whether they classify you as like a remote worker or not. So it's possible that you could live more than like 30 miles from the office and then be classified that somebody who has to come in to work 3 days a week. I really don't know why. I really don't know why this is such a big deal, outside of the idea that the managers of video game companies cannot get sexually aroused unless they're able to look over the shoulders of their subordinates, because otherwise there's been plenty of games that are full remote development teams and it's not a problem. Yeah, I don't know why this has to happen, and it sucks assholes.
It's a tricky one because there are some explanations that I've heard from people that I know who are in the business who have had valid reasons as to why that would make some sense for some of them.
Yeah.
But depends on the role of what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because there's for some of them, the reasons are because of the amount of data it takes that's going back and forth, that, you're sitting there waiting for something to download for hours sometimes because your build is like fucking 300 gigs or something that you're working on. And then there's the issue of the leaks that have happened that way. Sure. For example, the kid who took the video of his dad's work laptop or whatever to I think it was Grand Theft Auto, wasn't it, or something like that? He leaked something about...
I think the Capcom leak was one of those.
I think it was one of those. I'm trying to remember. I remember us talking about one, but that was a specific one. Like, leaks are way easier because when people are at home, they're somehow less guarded. Yeah. And so it causes leaks that are much faster. People have had rumors of people intercepting downloads somehow. Right. There's that too. The other reason, again, based on your team, is creativity. Yeah. Sometimes if you're next to each other, your creativity is much higher. Sure. But the problem is, like, as I mentioned, you don't always need everybody there. Like, there's a lot of jobs that are just like, yeah, I need you to look at this one thing that does not really require that much input. Yeah. Kind of thing. So, yeah. I think it's easier. I mean, I think that all of those problems can be either circumvented or worked around, where it's like, but whatever. I do understand that there is a difference between having everybody work remotely and having people in an office together, especially in a creative project. Yeah. But still, it's like, you need an incentive to get people back to work, not a punishment if they won't come back. That's the thing. So. If you want them to come back, it has to be a good reason, not because you want, like you said, to have managers stare them down.
Yep. Ubisoft is pushing a bunch of their projects that were on track for this year into 2026. This includes Far Cry 7, Assassin's Creed Hex, and the next Ghost Recon. So all the big heavy hitters are getting shoved out. I think that this happened because they delayed Assassin's Creed Shadows and put out a non-broken video game.
That did help them quite a bit.
And then people tended to like that when they put out a non-broken video game.
And it sold, I think, the best they've done in quite some time.
Yep. However, that does mean that according to the financials, the things that we have for this year are Anno 117, Pax Romana, Prince of Persia Sands of Time Remake, Rainbow Six Mobile, and The Division Resurgence. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Is that the phone game?
Maybe. Probably. I thought they had that Homefront thing, but whatever.
The Sands of Time remake, I'll believe it when I see it again.
And then let's see. At a recent, speaking of clueless fucking developers, at a recent panel, I think it was like a PAX, one of the PAX ones.
PAX East, I think, is going on right now.
Somebody asked Randy Pitchford, how much is Borderlands 4 going to cost, Randy? Is it going to be $80? Is it going to be $70? Is it going to be $50? And he was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know how much it's going to be. Like, I'm not in charge of that or whatever. And it's like, God, fuck this industry, man. Like, what do you mean? We're like a month away from this bullshit. How much is Borderlands going to cost, Randy? Come on, Randy, tell me.
How do you not know how much it costs when you're taking pre-orders for a game right now?
Let's see. Here's the quote. It might be the new price that Nintendo and Microsoft have led with. It might be that we stay back. It's going to be the people at the publishing house that decide that. We'll know soon. I think it's going to be fine. Whatever it is, it's worth it.
Doubt.
Fuck you, Randy.
I doubt it, Randy. Show me magic. Stop talking.
And last but not least, there was a story last week that a bunch of Steam accounts were hacked. Specifically, around 90 million Steam accounts were hacked. And you had to change your shit immediately. Valve has come out and said, no, they were not. Apparently, somebody intercepted a whole bunch of like two-factor authentication messages and then packaged those together and then presented them as like evidence that they have a bunch of accounts. And Valve is like, these are like 2-year-old 2FA email or like text messages.
Yeah.
Like that login expired like 10 minutes after it was sent. You can't do anything with this information.
It doesn't work that way, dude.
Yeah. So until there is any more information from the people that claim to leak, it seems like somebody just put together some bullshit that they managed to get off of Valve servers, and they're trying to sell it on the dark web as a way to just fleece somebody to try to get money. So
yeah, they figured they probably don't know how it works and just assume they would take the money and go.
Yep. So yeah, don't worry about your Steam password, according to Valve, not according to me. Everybody should be worried about everything all the time. With that happy note, we're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we still have trailers left to go, so stick around. See you in just a second. And we're back. And that means it's time to watch some trailers. Michael, last week, right when we were recording the podcast, they put out the Mafia: The Old Country trailer that included some interesting stuff. It was a trailer and a release date and a price and the whole 9 yards.
Oh, okay.
We didn't get a chance to talk about last week, so it's what we're going to kick off with this week. Michael, what are your thoughts about the Mafia games? Do you like them?
I thought they were interesting for what they were. I wasn't a fan of the third one personally, but that's more because Mafia. I always found the Mafia stuff more interesting when it's like, you know, the 60s further back era type of, you know, like the stuff Dick Tracy would deal with, essentially, that kind of.
So the 50s.
The 50s to 60s at most, kind of thing.
Because I think that Mafia 3 was like early 70s, maybe?
Yeah, and that's why I was like, it's a little too modern for my taste. Because, like, it's one of those things where I never found that there's no, the charm that you find for Mafia is somehow more quaint for some reason when it's in the 50s.
Yeah. So we got this trailer for the new one. This one all takes place in Italy in what looks like, I don't know, the fucking early 1900s or something like that.
Yeah.
Michael, I'll be honest with you. This is not my favorite part of Mafia stories, and this trailer looks dull as shit to me. It looks like Red Dead Redemption. It's all like...
It does. There's too many horses and
countryside.
Country stuff, yeah.
Really old cars and like... people that look like they should be knife fighting Arthur Morgan. Like it just doesn't. It's not doing it for me, and it's because my least favorite part of The Godfather is that part where he goes back to Italy and we got to dick around in the fucking Italian countryside for 30 minutes or whatever. I'm like, I don't care. Go back to the city, Michael. Michael, go back to the city.
I was actually just about to say that. That is one of the least interesting parts about that whole thing. And even like when other stories have that, where they're like, well, we got to go back to the old country and talk to the old wise people. They're like, well, this is boring as shit.
Yeah,
there's nothing to do out here.
I mean, it's like rural Italian life in the early 1900s, and I'm just like, ugh, gross. I mean, is there like it's like somebody trying to find like an Atlantean artifact, or is there like this guy that jumps into a hay bale or something? No? Okay, well then fuck off. Like just some guy in a shirt shooting people from the back of a horse? I don't know. Like maybe I'm missing something. It could just be that like, not every game's for everyone. The game itself looks very nice. It's just that the places where these guys are like crypts and countrysides and kind of nice old ass rooms and shit. I don't know. It just
the thing is that when you think of mafia stuff, you think of a lot of those 1950 gangster type situations, and at most some of the 70s stuff because of The Godfather.
Yeah.
Anything past that point, it becomes Beverly Hills Cop type of thing,
right?
which is still more interesting than this. Don't get me wrong. It's just that there's a specific time frame where there's something still more quaint about the idea of the mafia.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
it's an interesting setting. The 1920s kind of that kind of prohibition, and then you've got the 1950s where it's the kind of Goodfellas.
There's a reason why you find yourself rooting for them during those time frames, is specifically because of those things that you mentioned.
Yeah,
I think the 90s kind of brought it back a bit because of The Sopranos for a bit, but there's much more of like a thrillery thing, and I don't think you could really make it that much of an interesting game based on that.
Maybe
if that makes sense.
Some of the Grand Theft Autos have kind of had that with the mob stuff in it, so you probably could have made a slightly more modern thing. But
I could maybe see that, but I don't know. It's just, the problem is like I don't think going this far back was the move they should have done.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people like that shit. But we also got the news that it is coming out on August 8th, and that it's going to be $50 American, not 60, not 70, not 80, but 50.
That's actually very surprising.
Yeah,
maybe it's not as long as we think it is, though. Because it does look gorgeous graphically.
Like the engine is nice. It's like an Unreal Engine game or something.
But like I don't know about. I don't know if I'm interested story wise or anything.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. From there, we're going to go ahead and backtrack to something that I had in the previous one, the previous part of the podcast. That Sinking City remaster, stealth dropped last week.
Oh, shit.
It came out like the day before we recorded this, of just like, oh, yeah, there it is. So if you have the game on the PS5 or Steam, you get a free upgrade to this new version. It's been redone in Unreal Engine with higher quality textures and better lighting and all kinds of new stuff.
It looks great, actually.
Yep. They've gone back through and given the whole thing like kind of Unreal Engine 5 pass. If you buy this is a strange one in like a concession to people on Steam. If you buy the remastered version on Steam, you get the original version for free, basically, is like a separate thing.
That's kind of fun, actually. That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah, but it's interesting because, I mean, this is like, now that Frogwares has disconnected themselves from Big Ben Entertainment, they're now able to basically kind of like put this back out again and try to double dip to make some cash on it. And it's out now. So
good for them, to be honest. Yeah. I remember all that how hard it took for them to get all that stuff back.
It was a real pain in the dick. Let's see. We got the launch trailer for Doom: The Dark Ages. Going to other eldritch horrors coming from the stars.
Everybody so far says it's really good so far. I haven't heard too many complaints about it.
As of recording this, we haven't done the dojo for it. I only know that I booted it up and it runs really good on my computer, which I'm very happy for. Everything I've heard about it makes it sound like it's more of a return to what I want out of Doom. Like that, it's not the kind of lock and key weapon system from Eternal.
That is also I heard about it.
And I love all the just the idea that the basic default is Doomslayer with a Captain America shield and a shotgun, and I'm like, well, that's interesting as shit. Like
the main thing I've heard, which I find the most interesting about it, is the fact that all 3 Doom games have a different style of play.
Yeah,
because the first one they put it as run and gun, which is kind of true because you're just running around shooting things and hoping for the best.
Right.
Whereas the second one like is a lot of jumping around and shooting.
Yeah, it's very vertical
and a lot of shit like that. Where this one they call it the stay and fight.
Right. Right.
Because it's a parry. It's got the parry system. It's got the shield. It's got a lot of
more standing defensive options.
And so they say it's like really fun because of that.
Yeah.
And it is more of the I will murder you with whatever I have available, not I have to have a specific thing with enough ammo to make this easier.
Is it weird that over the entire course of the marketing for this, I feel like every time there's a new Doom trailer, I forget that there's also a giant mech in it, and so I'm watching this Doom trailer like, wow, this looks really good. Then the giant mech comes out, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. That's even better.
The funniest thing is that I forget not the mech, but the flying thing.
Oh yeah, the dragon.
That's the one I forget the most. And I'm generally very excited to play this eventually. I might hold off on it for a little bit.
Yeah,
mostly because I realize that sometimes I jump a little too fast in some games.
Sure.
And Doom is a game that I can see myself waiting on just a little bit longer.
Yeah. But yeah, that's out. By the time you hear this, that's already out. I don't know. We'll have some dojos on it. We'll see what happens.
But it is on Game Pass for everybody. If you know that,
yeah. Yes.
So you don't have to wait if you have Game Pass.
Hey, Michael, they're putting Street Fighter in Overwatch. Street Fighter 6 and Overwatch 2.
I swear, Jeff, every time
Street Fighter
Overwatch comes out with a new crossover for something that I would have liked in Overwatch 1, it makes me that much more annoyed.
It's like they're keep trying to tempt you personally.
It is.
Like you specifically.
They keep doing it. They keep finding things and going, Mike likes this thing, right? What if we put it in Overwatch? Yeah. It's like, what is wrong with you people?
That's confirmation that Dragon Ball is the next crossover for Overwatch. But yeah, we've got Juno has got a Chun-Li skin. Widowmaker has a Cammy skin. Hanzo has a Ryu skin. Winston has a Blanca skin. Whoever that old guy with the orbs has the M. Bison skin.
I don't know his name either. Yeah.
He was after I stopped playing. And I think there was like one more.
Soldier 76 is Guile.
Soldier 76 is Guile. Oh, and somebody is Juno.
I have no fucking idea.
I forgot who.
I know about the Soldier 76 one because people think it's really fun.
Yes. It's very out of character. Well, I actually saw somebody that was talking about this, and I never thought about this before, but it was like, now that Overwatch is kind of trying to be Fortnite and is adding all this stuff in, it's like, well, that was fine in Fortnite because the lore in Fortnite was nothing. It didn't matter. But like these are characters.
These are real things.
Zenyatta is Dalsim, apparently, also for some reason.
And then what's her name is Yuri.
Oh, that is the hacker lady?
I think it's the hacker lady.
Yeah. I forgot. Jeez Louise, guys, I don't know.
Jeff, they keep trying to get me specifically is what it keeps happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not, if Optimus Prime didn't work, this isn't going to work anytime soon, is all I'm saying.
What about when Cyclops is in there, when McCree is Cyclops?
Oh, I might consider that.
When Cassidy is Cyclops. Is that the
I just want Cyclops in everything.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, these are okay, but then Overwatch isn't a melee game, so the idea of putting all these melee characters in when you're just going to be shooting at I don't know.
Well, they've done it. So Fortnite, PUBG did it.
Yeah,
like it's not the first thing that ever do it, but the problem comes down to the fact that all of those they don't always translate well when they come to their whatever it is that they're being a part of a crossover.
Right.
I remember when the Street Fighter stuff was added as part of the PUBG one. And it was like you've captured their stunt doubles type of look.
Yeah.
And then when they did the Cowboy Bebop fucking for Overwatch, it was like, oh, you look all horrible.
The one thing that I will say is that it doesn't make any sense that you have Jury as a character and it's not Widowmaker. She is spider themed character.
It's so strange.
And Widowmaker is Cammy. Instead, Adam was wait, what? what? Anyway, all right, whatever, fine.
It's all just whatever,
fine.
guys. If you guys are still playing Overwatch 2, more power to you. It's just not for me anymore.
Speaking of fight games, we got a teaser for the next Virtua Fighter project.
Ooh.
We got a look at what Wolf from Virtua Fighter looks like in the new one with this very kind of wrestling intro. And he kind of looks like Ganon.
He looks just like Ganon.
He looks a lot like Ganon. He's also got jiggle physics on his pecs, which is kind of cool. Like,
more power to him.
But yeah, he's real strange looking. I'm not really a Virtua Fighter guy, but I'm like,
I'm not either. That's the thing.
What happened to you, Wolf?
I don't know a lot about Virtua Fighter anymore, but I know they're trying to make everybody look like they've been around for a while. So I'm curious to see what everything looks like once it's all done.
They also had a Virtua Fighter Direct thing last week, but I didn't want to watch it. It was like that Persona one, or when I talked about the trailer. Like, it was one of those ones where it's like 30 minutes long, and it's got like 2 gameplay snippets, and then it's a big round table of people talking, and that was what this one was too. So
yeah, that's probably why this is the only teaser they had out.
They had something for the Virtua Fighter 5 Revo, some announcement for that, but I don't care.
Oh, okay.
So let's see. Speaking of beating people up, we got the launch trailer for Mortal Kombat 1 Definitive Edition. This is just, if we had sponsored content on RageSelect, that's what this would be. This is a reminder that while Mortal Kombat 1 is not my favorite Mortal Kombat, the story was a lot of fun. Even the spin-off story, though too short, was pretty fun. And if you can get this complete edition with all the DLC people for like $30, you should buy it for $30.
You should buy it. Apparently they've added the new movie outfits for it as well for this version.
Which new movie outfits?
You remember what was it, the 2021 Mortal Kombat? The trailer shows that they made the Scorpion one for that, the Sub-Zero one for that. I guess the Johnny Cage one for the new movie.
Okay.
So I guess that's part of it.
The Carl Urban, Johnny Cage?
Yeah, I guess that's the idea of what he's wearing in the part of the trailer.
The brown jacket.
Yeah.
That's from the... Okay, all right. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, this is the one that has all the DLC characters, 35 different fighters, 20 cameos, 1.5 story campaigns, and the towers and the online and the stuff. So it's not a bad package. And if you've been waiting, this is definitely the one to get, because putting this out seems to indicate to me that, like, okay, we're done with Mortal Kombat 1. We're moving on.
That's the only downside to what's going on, and this just means that it's already over. But I feel like Mortal Kombat 1 just did not have legs, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's a shame, because I like the story.
The story is the best part of it, yeah.
I just didn't care for the cameo fighters, so kind of put the little bit of a damper on it. I would go back to this game in a second if they announced that they were putting out a mode with no cameo fighters.
I would too, actually, yeah. And also the fucking game modes they added were not all that interesting.
Yeah.
Just only towers, guys. That's all I need.
No, they did put towers in. I told you with the expansion they did put the towers back in.
That's why I said only towers. I don't need that nonsense anymore. That shit would not work out.
Let's see. Speaking of blood guts, we also got some announcement of some new features for the Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny remaster re-release, which is coming out this week / next week, depending on when you listen to this. Some interesting stuff. There's the easy mode in the game is going to be available from the start. I don't know if that's something that was like locked up before.
I think it was the way Devil May Cry 3 worked, where you had to die a few times.
Okay. They're also putting a new hell mode where one hit will kill you.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm like, all right, God, for that game? Eesh. There's some mini games that are available from the start. There's also some bonus costumes that are available. I don't know what these costumes are, but
I think they're references to like some movies.
Yeah. Anyway, then in addition, you get a bunch of the soundtrack and gallery and all that different stuff. But yeah, I kind of wish they would have gone. I kind of wish that Onimusha had gotten because there's a new Onimusha on the horizon. I really kind of wish that there was the full remaster treatment done for these. The way that the Resident Evils had them.
Yeah,
so.
I would have rather that be the case with the Onimushas. I'm happy that they're out, but I'm hoping that they don't stop at 2. I'm hoping that they go in and do 3.
They do 3.
Like I would love to see 3 come back out and to see John Reno and all his French glory.
Yep. It was a very weird one. Let's see. From there, we got this is just a real brief intro video for that new Shinobi game, Shinobi Art of Vengeance, the Oboro Village stage introduction. I tell you, Michael, the more I see of this game, the more I'm just like, God damn, I can't wait to play that.
It looks fantastic, though.
Fucking A. Looks like my kind of platformer.
This is the type of remake of certain games I want more of, or not just remakes, but like sequels type stuff.
Yeah,
like these are the types of games. Like I'd love like that Shredder one they made a long time ago. I'd love for them to do that again with this sort of look.
The Shredder one?
Strider.
Oh,
maybe that Strider remake, or not remake, but like that new Strider game.
Is there a Shredder game out there?
I would play a Shredder game.
I want to play that.
I would play a Shredder game that looked like this.
You hit the button, you build up enough rage, and you hit the button, become the Super Shredder.
Yeah. Dine on turtle soup. It'll be great.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic, and it's coming out in August. I don't know. Just can't wait. Looks great.
Sega.
Let's see from there. We got a brief. There was a real strange group of games. There wasn't any big front runners this week. We got the official Preludes gameplay trailer for Soulframe. This is the one that the Warframe team is making. It's kind of like a medieval fantasy type of thing, where it's medieval fantasy, but like some of the shit that people are wearing makes it look more like a Warframe game because it's very weird. And then the combat is very, I think, kind of Warframe inspired, but a little bit slightly deeper than that.
Yeah.
They show like some kind of ranged combat and some kind of dodging. Like it kind of has a little bit of a feel of a Soulsy type game, but it's obviously not that. Like there's not like a stamina meter. There's not a lot of blocking or anything in it. I don't know. It just looks really creative. It looks like a medieval fantasy game, but just with whatever the spice is that they put into sci-fi to make Warframe.
Yeah,
it's like they added that to this sandwich that I ordered, and I'm like, wait, I've tasted this before. Oh, this is that weird Warframe shit. I kind of like it.
It looks really fun, actually.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. And pretty nice. It's going into early access or beta at some point later this year. Oh yeah, I do. I really just love this one little part of there's like a bear handing somebody like an acorn and it's like holding it really
adorably.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I want to know about that bear. Tell me more about the bear
stuff too.
So yeah, and I think this one is coming out. What? Yeah, there's a TennoCon in July. I think there was a previous beta, and I think there might be a new one coming pretty soon. So
that's probably what they're going to announce there if they haven't already.
Yeah, because they did that. I still can't believe that fucking Warframe 1999 was locked behind the entire game.
What a weird thing to do.
I really wanted to play that, and I was like, I'm not playing 50 hours of fucking Warframe to play this, motherfuckers.
No, that's a stupid thing to do, though.
Yeah. Let's see. Another weird whimsical news. Palia, which is kind of an online it's kind of a Animal Crossing but with some combat.
Yeah.
Decorative gardening, but also hunting monsters. Really nice graphics, like really good looking people in my opinion. Just got this new update called the Elderwood. That's a big thing that just came out. And apparently this game is free to play. So I don't know. Maybe at some point we'll have to load it up and see.
That's pretty fun.
If it's and it might actually only be free to play on the PC. I'm not sure. I have to go look it up. But I don't know. I keep hearing a lot about this, but only in very quick bursts.
Yeah, I always forget it exists because I remember when it first came out. We're like, oh, what could this be?
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it's this free-to-play game. And then we all stopped paying attention immediately.
Yeah.
And then I almost forgot about it again until this happened.
And it's also like a farming game, but then it also
has like combat in
it. So
a glider too. Because I remember all those original trailer stuff. But yeah,
very weird. Very weird. Let's see. This is an interesting one for me. So this trailer came out, Alien Rogue Incursion Evolved Edition. So I don't know if you remember that Alien Rogue Incursion was that Quest and PSVR 2 game that came out. And so this trailer came out, and it was like just a first person kind of viewpoint walking through kind of a horrified alien level, and then like a xenomorph jumps out at the end. And I went and looked it up. they're making the non-VR version. They're making just an FPS version of
that's
it.
fun.
That's like a non-VR version that's going to be coming out later this year, which is great because even though I have a PSVR 2 and I have a PS5 Pro, I don't really want to play an Alien game in VR. I don't want to get picked up and fucking mouth jerked by a fucking xenomorph.
Jeff, mouth jerked sounds a lot different than what you're thinking it sounds like.
Mouth blasted? I don't know. Everything I could think of.
That's so much
dirty.
worse.
Like, it all sounded dirty.
People pay extra for that one, Jeff.
I was going to say mouth skewered, and then I was like, no, that doesn't work either. So
nope. It's all sexual.
Yeah. Bit to death with teeth of aliens. Anyway, what is that? August? They said part 1 is September 30th is going to be coming out.
Okay,
a new version that's been basically re-envisioned to be a single player non-VR non-VR experience. So.
That's a good thing. More games should have had that option for stuff like that.
Yeah, I like it whenever a game that was VR only. Give them a little time, sell it to the people with the VRs, and then let me have the non-VR version.
Like, if you made that Iron Man VR game, like, just a normal game, people would have played the shit out of that thing.
That was that Spider-Man game, right? Where you'd swing.
There's that for a little bit, yeah.
Was that the Homecoming tie-in or
Yeah,
whatever?
it was like a free little thing you could get. It was just the swing around.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of outer space, we got the launch trailer for Everspace 2 Wrath of the Ancients. I keep pushing Everspace 2 like I've got stock in the company. I don't. I just think it looks like a cool spaceship game, and we just don't get a lot of those at this point.
We really don't. At least not ones that aren't only on PC.
That's true. Yeah. Unfortunately, I can confirm, at least from the time of recording, that whatever the PS5 Pro enhanced version of this game is still not out.
Which is crazy to me.
It was announced as it's on Sony's website as here's the list of all the games getting PS5 Pro updates. I think it's one of the only ones that hasn't gotten it yet, and I'm like, I don't know. I like a lot of what I'm seeing here. I'm a big slut for spaceships and shit, like flying around through Death Stars and strafing fucking the mothership, and that looks like to be all that this game is.
It looks fantastic,
but just give me the PS5 Pro version. I will take a look. Yeah, I don't know. Confusing and frustrating. I'm frustrated and confused. So, let's see. This is a weird one. I never heard of this before. It's a game called The Abandoned Planet. It's like this pixel-based adventure game, like a point-and-click adventure game.
Okay.
I'd never heard of this before. Then a lot of times when I'm pulling up trailers, I look for if it has a good thumbnail. So it's got this lady, or I don't know, it seems like this lady that crashes on this planet and is kind of trying to figure out how to deal with some of this alien stuff and kind of walking through very old school traditional adventure game style.
I was about to say, it reminds me of a lot of the old Monkey Island stuff.
Yeah. What it reminded me of is The Dig. Because it's on an alien planet, right?
Yeah.
So it looks really cool. I don't know. It seems like it's interesting. I don't know that I would actually want to go and fully play an adventure game, but I think it has potential. So if that seems like a thing that's up your alley, maybe go take a look at The Abandoned Planet. Yeah. You can tell it's a thin news week, Michael, because I have the official Update 1.4 launch trailer for Starship Troopers on this list.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Speaking of alien planets.
The desire to know more or whatever.
Yeah, desire to know more intensifies. And then you can tell how strapped the Starship Troopers extermination team is because you want to guess what the 1.4 update is bringing more than anything else?
What's that?
2 things. Day-night cycle.
Oh, goodness.
And dynamic weather.
That's the things.
That's pretty much the big improvements that are happening in this particular launch.
Those poor guys. I feel bad for these guys because if they had made this game before Helldivers came out,
yep,
I'm sure everybody would have been clamoring for this thing.
Yep.
But oh boy, they came out with it the worst possible time.
If I'm not mistaken, didn't they get Casper Van Diem to come record a bunch of stuff for them for their last update?
I think so. And then Casper Van Diem kept going, Helldiver guys, you can also call me, by the way. Yeah. I'm free to do whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. It sucks because we recorded a video where we ended up having a lot of fun with that game. We
lost that whole thing.
And then we lost, we got the first 20 minutes where we were bored and shit talking the game, and then the recording locked up at the 20 minutes where we had a whole bunch of fun. And it was like, well, fuck farts.
It was pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't bad, yeah. Once it got going, I got going.
True. But then on the other hand, I would still rather play Helldivers 2 than
no, you should still rather play Helldivers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, there was something there.
It wasn't terrible. They put out some Minecraft movie DLC, which is pretty fun. All the little characters from the Minecraft movie. You got the Jason Momoa, all the people skins, as well as like it looks some little fighting sections that are based on things that happen in the movie.
Oh, that's fun.
And
there's like movie version looking characters.
Yeah. It was I don't know. That's pretty fun. It's weird that there's a Jack Black Steve and then just Steve.
Just next to each other, probably.
Yeah.
You can just have two Steves.
You can have two Steves. I also put out, this is like there's a little area that has the village where the villagers are. And it looks like they've got like Jason Momoa's little shop and some little challenges that are based on things from the movie.
See, what Smash Brothers needs to do now, though, is go back and make a Jack Black skin for their Steve.
Oh, yeah, Steve was in there, wasn't he?
Yeah, and he's broken as hell, apparently, still.
Oh, okay.
So he's like banned from tournaments because of it.
Fair enough. Okay, here's something I am really interested in. We got a release date window for the Shantae Risky Revolution game.
This was that one that was supposed to be a Game Boy Advance game, right?
I think it's supposed to be like a DS or 3DS game, if I'm not mistaken, because the whole thing is that the world turns
okay.
left and right.
I remember. I must be thinking of one that already came out then. Or that's the case.
Yeah, I think the original was like a Game Boy Color game or something. Anyway.
Well, it's because there was one that they were like, it was going to be a Game Boy Advance game, but then they made it for something else or some shit. I can't remember.
That might be this one. But anyway, I love Shantae. I love the Shantae games. And we now have a release window for this, so summer 2025, sometime very soon.
Yeah, it is this one because it says Shantae Advance.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it was Game Boy Advance. I thought it was a DS, but
it was. I think eventually I think they just scrapped it originally. I think was the idea, and then they ended up coming back to it. I think is why they decided to do that.
I don't know why I like the Shantae games so much, but
they're just a fun time. They're like,
very fun.
They go back to simpler like game types.
Yeah,
that I don't feel like a lot of companies make anymore.
They got the kind of Metroidvania, the kind of silly plot,
because it's like the in between of like Super Mario Brothers and like. And a Metroidvania that's super complicated.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just not a genre they make a lot of anymore.
True. I'd love to see him try a 3D one someday.
That would be fun.
I'd love to see him try a 3D
People kept trying to get her in the Smash Brothers, though.
That's never going to happen.
They got her a Mii outfit, I think, is all they did with her.
Oh, yeah.
Which is still a pretty good honor.
Yep. Let's see. We got the launch trailer. Next up, we got the launch trailer for The Precinct. You and I actually played this.
We did.
For the dojo. It was pretty fun. Yeah, this top-down GTA style thing. I think that one of the draws for this that might be, because I'm trying to think of like, people seem, there's like a lot of buzz on this game right now.
Oh, that's good.
That it might be the fact that like it's kind of this top-down Grand Theft Auto, like OG Grand Theft Auto style game, but you're playing from the other side of the law, basically. Yeah.
And you have to like be a good cop.
Yeah, you have to like read people their rights and yell at them to put down their guns before you just immediately start opening fire on them.
So anyways, it started blasting.
It started blasting. Yeah,
and then they fired you because you were doing a bad job.
Yeah. I did see a review of this where somebody said that like it's a really good game because apparently in between like the story beats, you just have to go do a daily cop. Like you just have to go out and fucking like patrol and look for patrols. People doing stuff, and then it's like a fun little chunk, right? So if you only have like 10 minutes to play a game, you can just go do your daily grind for the precinct, and then
that's pretty fun. Actually,
come back and do the story missions later. So, yeah, you all should go check it out. $25, not that much at all. I don't know. I think I've said this on a couple of podcasts, Michael, but I'm really starting to just be like, yeah, man, I just want to play the indie games. Like, I don't give a shit anymore about your AAA stuff. A lot of the AAA stuff that's come out is either too long or not really super interesting to me. I keep trying to make myself excited enough to play Assassin's Creed, and I'm just not. Like,
well, the thing is that the indie games is where all the creativity is again.
Yeah,
because right now everybody who's making AAA games, like these are the things that work, so these are the things we're keeping.
Right,
and the ones that are trying to do slightly different things, like say Doom: The Dark Ages, is because they feel like they have the money to back them up with it.
Right.
But the ones that don't are just like, well, these are the things that work. These are the things we have to do.
Yeah.
Like the checklist. Or the indie guys are just like, yeah, it's a cop with a shotgun who's got to arrest Satan. It's just like, yeah, no, I like that more.
Yes, go watch us play Shotgun Cop Man. Surprisingly accessible and fun.
Yeah, a whole lot of fun.
So, speaking of surprisingly accessible, anybody who's played Power Wash Simulator might want to check out Spray Paint Simulator, which is kind of the opposite.
Oh, that's fun.
Where instead of washing, you are painting. But it's got a little bit more to it. I played the demo for this where, you have to like tape up the room. And
yeah, you still have to make sure it's not like you don't paint over everything.
Right.
You're not somebody's landlord who paints over that cockroach.
Right. And you have to like remove stuff and then like switch stuff out, and tape stuff up and then paint. I don't know. I think that it's just not quite as satisfying putting something on as it is cleaning, because I think the cleaning is a more universal concept than painting.
It's also much more uniform, so when you're done, you're just like, it's something more pleasing about it.
Right.
Or when you fuck up something that you paint, you're just, well, shit, now I got to start over kind of thing. So, yeah.
Yeah, May 29th, and it's going to be on Game Pass, which I was like,
fun.
Okay, that works.
And it's on everything.
Yeah. And then there's a Switch version that's coming in June.
Okay.
Yeah. So, let's see. After that, one of the stranger team ups that I've ever heard of, but it does make a certain amount of sense. Monster Train 2 Ex Balatro?
Sure. Why not?
Or Balatro? I don't know.
I think we just say Balatro. It's much easier.
I don't know how this works. They're putting a bunch of the Jokers from Balatro into Monster Train 2. How does that work? Like, do they become characters? Because the characters, like the cards, become demons that fight other people.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work? Monster Train?
Maybe it's a multiplier thing. I don't know.
Anyway, May 21st, right around the corner this next week, we're going to find out, because that's what, or maybe that's when Monster Train 2 goes into early access, but we shall see. And then last but not least, actually, you know what? I didn't actually watch this trailer. Devolver Digital put out a trailer for a game called Sherman Gloom, which is a double roguelike deck builder. And what that means is that you have one deck for traversal, because it's like a first person, like walking around, and then you have a second combat deck, and the two don't mix together.
Yeah. And what's great is you're walking around with them in your hands.
Yeah. Like using them for a variety of different things. And it's this very weird, like mold, kind of moldy,
yeah, you're like in a cave full of like crazy fungal monsters or something.
Yeah.
Or a lot of them are, at least.
It's very strange looking. It's very funky. It reminds me of what was that game where you're in the room with the guy? The guy who made the Hex.
I know what you're talking about.
Inscription, yeah.
It looks a lot like but it's very creative the way everything looks when you're moving.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Yep. And there's a demo out right now, so go check it out. It's from Team Laserbeam. I wonder if I know Team Laserbeam. Do I know Team Laserbeam? I feel like I would have remembered somebody called Team Laserbeam.
I feel like I would remember a
Teenage
name like
Blob,
that.
Wrestling with... What is that? Wrestling with Emotions. New Kid on the Block. I've never heard of this game.
I vaguely remember seeing something about that.
I think I do. It's a wrestling game. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Never mind. Wait. Hold on. Did they make that? Oh, okay, they didn't. I was like, did they make that game where you have to extort people for the mayor? Because it kind of looked like the same art style.
I could see that. Yeah.
All right. And then last but not least, we got some updates. We got 10 new games that are coming to the PlayStation Plus this week.
These are extra and premium.
Yep. Soul Hackers 2, Sandland, Five Nights at Freddy's, Help Wanted, Battlefield 5, the Stalker re-releases, which we have another story about that.
Okay.
Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising, Humankind, Story of Seasons, Wonderful Life, and Gloomhaven Mercenaries Edition. I think that probably Sandland and Soul Hackers are probably the big ones in there for.
Those are really big ones to have on there.
Yeah,
because Battlefield 5 is a very old game at this point.
Yeah. Did you ever go back to Sandland? Did you ever play Sandland?
I never did. I just never. There was too many things that were coming out.
Sure.
So just dropped off.
Was that 2020 3 when it was just like
No, I think it was last year.
Bangers after bangers.
I think it was just last year, and I just think when it came out, I was doing something else at the time.
Yeah. Nope, that was 2023.
Okay,
August of 2023.
Oh, then there was definitely stuff that came out at that time.
Yeah, late 20 or no, wait, April 2024.
Oh, yeah, then I was right.
April 2024.
Okay, that was last year. But there was some stuff that came out that time that I was like, oh, maybe I'll go back to it, and I just never did.
Motherfucking Google, I can't with you anymore, Google. One of the other things that we found for the Stalkers Legend of the Zone, this would be like the re-releases that came out.
Oh, okay.
They did a kind of like a next-gen patch for them that adds in like some higher resolution textures, some more God rays, and some more graphical enhancements that make these games honestly look pretty good, like for how old they are.
Yeah, they look great, actually.
Some new general overall effects. I still don't want to play them because I tried.
They're so difficult.
Like, oh my god!
The fact that this trailer says the classic unforgiving.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, no, you're right. Unforgiving is fucking right.
There's a part where I was trying to. They show a guy like kind of shooting in the general direction of a town full of people, and I'm like, you're never going to hit anything that way. You've got 3 bullets. What are you doing?
It's so insane.
But yeah, it looks great. And if you ever want to go back to the old Stalkers, it's nice that they're there, and it's nice that they're basically just the original versions cleaned up.
Yeah, they did not compromise on them.
Yep. Okay, Michael, because you listened to me talk about Stalker, we did get a new trailer for the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot Daima adventure.
I'm very excited for this, though.
This hasn't released yet, and I thought we had a trailer for this already, though, right?
We did, but this is just the newest trailer that they have because I think it's the actual announcement of the date for Part 1.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a 2-parter of DLC,
right?
And so it's showing off like a fight that happens, I think, in like episode 4 or 5 or something like that.
I think it's much more cinematic. I think the last one was a little bit more just kind of like announcement. But yeah, so it's nice to see that. I mean, like, what is it in Kakarot at this point? Like, I feel like they keep adding more Dragon Balls to Kakarot, and it's got everything, right?
It's got so much of it. But it's just the main things it's missing, of course, are everything that involves Dragon Ball Super. But there's no reason to add that stuff.
Yeah,
and it's also missing, the movie stuff. But there's also no reason to really add the movie stuff either.
Did they not add DLC for the movie stuff?
Not really. Like the ones that they did, there were movies of, but they're also part of Dragon Ball Super.
Oh, okay.
Thing. But they're the only movies that are canon is the other thing.
Okay.
They didn't add any of the non-canon movie stuff, if that makes sense. Like everything they've added so far is everything Toriyama had some hand in. That's the connecting tissue of everything in this game.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I feel like they didn't add all of Super since he did a lot of that stuff, but he didn't like have his hands on as much as he did for everything else that's in here.
So this is like the ultimate video game for you.
It really is. And I keep finding reasons that are like you should replay it from the beginning all the way through.
Yeah.
And I might again one of these days. If they stop making DLCs so I can stop playing the DLCs.
Yeah. It was like July 17th is the first part of this.
The funniest thing about the game is that they're releasing a Daima. They call it the Daima version of the game.
Okay.
It's just the base game, but only the Daima DLC. So it's not even like it's not like a definitive edition the way Mortal Kombat is.
Is that just to keep the price down for people that are just new fans from
Daima, I guess? And even then, that's a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
Because you can buy like versions of this game that have all the other DLC, but for some reason they like the Daima editions only the base game and the Daima ones.
That's really weird.
It's a very strange thing to do.
Anyway, July 17th. Hopefully they'll be quick to turn around the second part that has, as I understand it, a bunch of the other characters that are not in the first pack. So.
Plus, it was a 20 episode series. Like, I generally don't expect these DLCs to be that long. Okay. All things considered.
Let's see. So we got the news that Deltarune chapters 3 and 4 we're going to be launching with the Nintendo Switch, Switch 2. But it turns out that that's in Japan, and I say this because people that are sickos for Toby Fox games are going to want to know this.
They are going to want to know
what this means is that it is releasing at midnight on June 5th in Japan. that means that it is launching at like 8 a.m. on June 4th in America because of the time change difference.
Yeah.
So not for the Switch 2, but because it's coming out for everything simultaneously.
Yeah.
So if you already have Deltarune, you can play it earlier than that particular release date. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Oh, wait. Yeah, no, that's right. And then apparently even earlier for Australia and New Zealand somehow.
It's all timeline stuff, time zone stuff.
Let's see. I was going to say there was when I originally did the news, there was a leak about the PC release date for Stellar Blade on the PC, but then between the time that I looked this up and the time that we recorded this, they've just put out a trailer for its releasing on the PC.
It's got the specs and everything.
Yeah. And like the additional stuff that they've added, which is all the normal stuff. It's got DLSS, it's got unlocked frame rate, it's got ultra widescreen support. Just all the bullshit. Also like 25 new costumes. And hey, you know what? Now you guys can finally mod back in the sluttier versions of the costumes that you really wanted.
Yes, Jeff, that's what they'll mod in.
Everybody wants the sluttier versions, so now you can get them.
It's a lot of cat outfits now.
Can I just get I liked this game. I just wanted a version where you could just have a regular outfit that was not sexy at all.
A very nice business suit.
I grinded for pants. They also put in the Japanese and Chinese voiceover tracks.
That's good.
A lot of stuff. I mean, it's been a little bit of time, so it's good to see that they've added in. It's also added in a different boss fight, and it's got controller support for the DS DualShock.
Oh,
so if you're playing on the PC,
really cool, actually.
Yeah, it has like the rumbles and stuff,
and the haptic feedback and everything.
Yep,
that's very nice of them.
So yeah, all kinds of nice stuff, enhanced textures, yada yada. What's the date? June 11th, 2025.
Nice.
Bad news that Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra was supposed to be coming out this year. It has now been officially delayed into 2026.
Here's the thing. I forgot about it entirely.
Yep.
It wasn't until the news was like, it's been delayed. I'm like, oh, they're still making that game.
Yep.
And I don't mean that as in a way I'm like, oh, it's going to be bad. I'm like, no, it's a game that shows so much promise that my brain forgot it existed because I thought it was made up.
Yep. The last time we saw anything about it was 2024 at the Epic State of Unreal, where they showed off that
amazing fucking cutscene.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, it's supposed to be early next year, but who knows?
That's a game I'll probably buy day one, just because I'm a big fan of Captain America, type of thing. And if it's even close as good as some of the other games that involve Captain America, I'm gonna have a great fucking time.
Well, as good as any of those other Amy Hennig games too.
Yeah.
And then let's wrap it up with a few fun things. Apparently, so people have been asking Harada from Tekken for Waffle House so much.
Are they still asking him about it?
They are. And he literally came out and said, I've been trying to get in touch with Waffle House, but they won't return my phone calls. And then he started asking whether people would be interested in like basically a knockoff version as a stage for Tekken called the Beatdown House or something like that, where they basically file the edges off of the Waffle House until it's like legally distinct enough to be a Tekken stage. And I'm like, why did you even ask? Of course everybody would be great with that.
Oh,
they would love that shit.
Half of the people asking also said, by the way, if you just made a generic version, I would also be down with it.
Yes.
And also Waffle House, you're stupid for not returning his calls immediately.
That's not entirely true, because I don't think that Waffle House really cares to cater to the people that want to play Tekken. Waffle House.
I realized as I said it, not because of that, because I don't think they want to be associated as a place where people fight.
Right. Yeah. It doesn't do well for...
Didn't realize the Toys was thinking about it until I know. I was like, okay, you know what? That's fair, actually.
They don't want to be known for that. They are known for it. They don't want to be.
They don't want to advertise. That's the reason people come here.
Yeah, but just the idea that fucking Harada's out there on Twitter, like, yeah, man, I tried calling Waffle House and they wouldn't talk to me, and it's like, I mean, of course they wouldn't. You're like, hello, Waffle House HQ. I'm the guy that makes Tekken. Will you talk to me about putting your restaurant franchise chain in my game where a dude throws his son in a volcano? Like, what? You're who? From where? What's this about a volcano? No.
I want to make
hang up on him.
I want to make a bear fight a guy with tall hair. It's like, I'm sorry, what? Just in front of your restaurant. It's fine.
Hang up on him in the rudest way possible. Let's see. This is a weird thing. I don't know if you saw this, but some YouTuber created the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, but in Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh my goodness!
But with Michael and Trevor as Lucia and Jason. Yeah,
I think it's Jason.
And they do all right. I mean, they do pretty.
They're also doing like some comedic stuff in the middle of it.
Yes. It's not serious. They have Trevor in a dress the entire time.
Yeah, and there was an airplane that just crashed randomly as they're like, hey, driving somewhere.
They also they can't really interact. So there's a lot of places where the two characters are interacting with each other where they're obviously just using like rag dolls and stuff. Yeah. Also, they're obviously using AI to recreate the voices of Trevor and Michael.
I didn't realize that they did that. Okay.
For the dialogue. Well, and then also because if you're not hearing this, they replaced the soundtrack with an AI version of Trevor singing "Hot Together." From
that's kind of fun. I guess.
Trailer, yeah. It depends on how virulently anti-AI you are.
Well, here's the thing: they're not using it for profit; they're using it for shit posting,
right?
And that's what you should be using AI for.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Yeah, it depends on what your thought process on it.
Yeah,
is
it's I don't know. It's ridiculous. If you're going to use AI for anything, I think it's shit posting.
That's what it only
Trevor
should be
in a dress.
So. Just shit posting and only shit posting.
Yeah. What's funny about it though is obviously the shit was put together in a week and it's got 94K views. It was 83 earlier today when I looked at this.
Yeah, okay.
So. And last but not least, Michael, a tragic tale. So. Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah.
What's the song that everybody likes?
I don't know I forgot the name of it, but it's the one where he's fucking throwing her. Nurture goes with everything. Or?
Rules of Nature.
Rules of Nature.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Rules of Nature. So they had Rules of Nature. That was the fucking butt rock new metal song that played when you were slicing up Rexes in the beginning, and then it became a meme like the Guile thing, where it's like Rules of Nature goes with everything, and so people just making stuff with Rules of Nature. Well, the guy that made that song had no idea that this happened.
Are you serious?
Yes.
He had no idea his song exploded.
He had no idea.
For a decade.
Yes, because they interviewed him about it, and he was like, yeah, so here we go. Get this, I missed it all. The whole Rules of Nature goes with everything. I found out about that 2 years later because my name wasn't credited on it right away, and only when Konami re-released it on Spotify was my name credited as the singer, so no one knew that it was me for a couple of years, so no one knew to tell me about the meme.
Oh my god.
So
that poor bastard.
So and he's just he's good-natured about it, where he's like, I'm just disappointed I didn't get to have fun with people online, that I would have loved to have seen all that happening.
Had so much fun with it.
Because apparently that same guy, what do you say? Quote, so frustrating. I wanted to live in the meme moment, but I didn't get to. At least I get to go back and look at it. But he did 3 songs for Cyberpunk 2077 with another project of his called Resodrone. So it's he's still
this man needs to get himself out there more. Yeah, all I'm saying. But you're doing good things, man.
But then he's like, yeah, but then people didn't know that was me. That those songs in Cyberpunk were from the guy that did fucking Rules of Nature from.
You need to start telling people things, man. What is wrong with you? You can create whole new memes. You're just not letting people know.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The funny thing about this, Michael, is that there's a real synergy with this because I didn't know either. I just saw this headline and put it in the thing, and then when I read the story, I was like, I didn't know that Rules of Nature goes with everything was a thing because I was so virulently anti-revengeance for a long time.
I was in the knee deep when all of this happened, and me and my friends were sharing this to each other all the time.
So this afternoon, I got to go and watch a bunch of the YouTube videos.
They're really funny.
I was like, oh, it's great.
They're really fun.
It's really fun. So
there's a lot of songs where this is the meme. You Say Run has that too.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's fantastic.
What a story. What a story. And with that, we're done. This is a RageSelect podcast. We only went way over this week, so
just a little way over.
Just a little way over.
A little ways over.
I kept thinking every segment was a little bit over, and I was like, well, make it up on the next one. No, we won't.
Never.
Michael, tell them where they can find you when you're not over here helping me drag the podcast out to untold lengths.
You can find me on One of Us Done Out. We do a lot of movie and television reviews. You can also find me under Super Maniacs on YouTube, which is a Superman podcast I do every now and then.
Yeah. And as for the podcast, if you want to know something else that goes with rules of nature, it's patreon.com/RageSelect. But that's not true. I mean, I don't know if you just... Well, you could probably just play that song and then browse the Patreon and you would be like, wow, this is really epic. It would make it a lot more epic than if you just didn't. But yeah, it takes a lot of work every week to get all this stuff together. So help us out. Help me have the time to be able to do this by donating $5 a month. Gets the access to Discord. You know, if you made it all the way in, you know, come on, go do it. If you haven't already, thank you. If you haven't, come on. Yeah, podcast over. Or one of the other things that I say. I don't want to just scream podcast over. It was good like once, but I don't want to do it every week. I just don't want it to be like out of nowhere. I'll just play Rules of Nature at the end of every podcast. That'll be the new outro.